It is time for Street Talk, and what a week it was. In fact, I was a little bit down on Corrie this week, actually. Sneak preview of today's Street Talk, but did I give any bang-ins this week? I might have given one, but I was kind of...
You didn't like Mondays, did you?
Yeah. No, I didn't not like Mondays. I didn't like Monday as much as you did. I gave that one a bog standard. But I thought, this week just felt a little bit slow, especially after the big explosive flash forwardy type episode that was Monday. I was wondering, what's the momentum of the rest of the week going to be? But I suppose that's the thing with it being a flash forward rather than it being some big event. Like for the rest of the week, it's like, well, that's still in the future. There's nothing to react to. Nothing's happened with it. But we had a few little developments here and there. I'm interested to find out in a bit whether any of your thoughts or theories have changed about what's going to happen on April the 23rd following this week's developments. But we do have some clickbait first sent through by the lovely Jonathan. Thank you very much, Jonathan. And Gemma, I'm going to ask you this. Who is the Express referring to when they say Coronation Street exit sealed for legend 31 years after debut as fans left devastated?
This isn't a spoiler, is it?
This isn't a spoiler. Is it ever a spoiler when Coronation Street exit is sealed in inverted commas? No. 31 years. I'll do the maths for you, Gemma. That takes us to 1995. So who's joined the show in 1995? And now, according to fans and the Express, their exit is sealed. Not anyone who was killed off in the flash forward. They've certainly not been in the show for 31 years. 31 seconds, some of them.
95?
Yes.
I don't think many people are around from then.
No. It's quite a tricky
Steve
one.
McDonald?
No, 1989 was Steve McDonald. This is a character that was born back then.
Right, okay. Because Tori and that lot were 96 or
97, yeah.
And then, because Diana died, she couldn't cope with it. And 95 is when somebody was born, who's 31.
Yes. I mean, I think it was 95. They're in it now, but not for long.
What's in your tea?
I think I've got a hair floating around in the top of my tea, so just, I'm just trying to pick it out and ignore me. Do you want me to tell you? Okay, this is Daniel. His exit is sealed, apparently, because according to one fan on a Facebook group that has now made its way into the Express, Will could kill Daniel.
Yeah.
Don't think so, somehow. I think Daniel's fairly safe, I'm going to say, but you never know, do you?
I mean, if he wants help...
Would you off Daniel? Would you? He's great. You wouldn't kill Daniel off. You don't want Daniel to go, do you?
As a character, great. As a person, no, I'd kill him.
Well, if it was a choice between Daniel and Will getting bumped off, I think we both know...
I give Will a chance. Daniel's had his time in the sun.
Don't be so ridiculous.
Next.
Right, Manchester Evening News. Coronation Street fans spot Sam Blakeman's major problem as he tries to bring down Megan Walsh.
He's a nerd.
That's not his main problem, Gemma.
He's too into maths.
No. What is the problem? This is an article from earlier in the week. This is an article from earlier in the week. What problem was there in his plot to bring down Megan Walsh?
He's trying to do his maths GCSE.
No.
Well, he's not going to do it, is he?
This is something to do with his camera. He set up his camera on the shelf.
It wasn't pointing in the bedroom.
No, although maybe that would have been.
He didn't turn it on. It wasn't plugged in.
No,
it wasn't a real.
This was
camera.
Actually a problem that we spoke about as well.
It's obvious it's going to be seen because it's a new thing.
Yes, it's an obvious camera.
Yeah, I know, but right, okay. The thing is, there are two women living in this house, and they do see things, whereas you don't see things.
I wouldn't notice, no.
No.
And as Sam is a fellow man, well, he's getting there. He obviously didn't think that it would be spotted. But there was a fair amount of bump on that shelf, wasn't there? But it wasn't concealed in any manner. He's no Todd Grimshaw, is he? I mean, we've seen the plentiful ways that one can hide a camera in a flat. I mean, he's 14 and the plot needed it to be spotted. So I'm really glad it was, though. Yeah, me too. In a way. He is only a kid. Am I glad that it was?
Well,
maybe.
The thing is, sometimes, okay, and we're all guilty of this. We nitpick stuff and we go, well, why don't they just do this? And why don't they just do that? And sometimes I think Corrie's like, okay, well, we did that, and that's what happened. So
I think it was just like a surprisingly satisfying rug pull.
Yeah.
Because people are like, oh yeah, he's going to catch them. And of course, well, how would they not spot that? And the Corrie's just like, well, they did.
they did see it, so maybe
Although
you're stupid.
I was really frustrated. As much as I loved the fact that they put on a little play for him today, and I love the fact that he realised it was all a setup, I was really, really hoping, because it was a bit of a gradual build-up to Friday's episode, I was hoping that today would be the day when he actually would get some hard evidence that he could use. But alas, he's just going to have to try another way. I mean, what's he going to do now? Is that flat now out of action for Megan and Will? Or are they going to think, well, we've fooled him once?
The morning of that day, they were together.
I was a bit confused by that. Yeah, today's episode started with Will hiding out in Megan's flat. He hadn't spent the night there, had he?
We're not
Had he just gone there first thing in the morning? I'm not really sure. But
I think that Sam needs to do a fake out and put another camera in there. Because it's the last thing that they would expect, especially if he actually hides it this time.
Well, he is supposed to be smart. And, fair play to him. He's 14. I think, putting a hidden camera in there was a fairly what's the word? Ingenuitive? Ingenious?
Yeah, there you go.
Thing to do. So I think he should give it another shot.
Hide it this time.
Yeah.
They're not going to expect it twice.
No, exactly.
Next.
Okay, from the Express again. Coronation Street murder flash forward was underwhelming for one key reason. And I think this was an opinion piece in the Express rather than the absolute watertight news that these tabloids usually put out there.
Is this because everyone's saying, including you, that the 5 characters are not that exciting and you all want them to die anyway?
Well, it was more a case that that they were all fairly new characters that nobody was seriously invested in. And
do I say it again? I feel like I've said this about 5 times now. I liked that because normally they go, oh, it could be these 5 really cool characters or this one person that nobody cares about, and it turns out to be the one person that nobody cares about. At least they're up front with it, and they're like, look, you don't like any of these people, do you? So what if one of them died? They're all villains.
I do get that.
I know that Jodie is TBC as far as villain is concerned.
Oh, I think she's definitely up there.
Well, I know a lot of people are kind of going, oh, she hasn't done anything wrong. It's like, yeah, we know that she's a villain. And as usual,
she's got a villain's box.
The women's crimes are like so insignificant compared to the men's. Megan is like the worst female criminal we've ever had, actually. I genuinely think so. I mean, Tracy killed Charlie, but he was a dick. So he deserved it. Who else have we had that's really been that bad? We had
Maya Sharma. She blew up some shops.
But that was
kidnapped.
Just fun and arson, wasn't it? Like
it was just arsing around.
Yeah, and then you had Tyrone's what's her face? She was horrible abuser.
Kirsty.
Yeah, she was horrible. But she Megan is in a league of her own. She's the worst female character we've ever had.
I don't know whether I'd completely agree with that, but
I see. You agree with it then, do you?
It's tough because you're right. If there had been like a single or maybe even 2 big characters on that list, automatically you'd think, well, it's not going to be them.
They wouldn't have done it like that. They would have gone, oh no, could be Daniel, it could be Ken, it could be Leanne, it could be Toya, or it could be Will. And you'd be like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Who do you think it's going to be?
So this does leave it open to anyone, but
could be
it also
anybody.
is like seriously highlighting Coronation Street's current trend of bringing in these new characters, over-reliance on new characters to drive the action, over-reliance on villains at the moment, kind of all relatively, there's no Pat Phelans among any of this lot, is there?
I don't mind them relying on villains to drive narratives, but what I do think that I don't like is disposable villains, because I think it makes it's higher stakes if you have somebody who's like a long-term antagonist.
Yeah, and it does feel like a lot of these are disposable villains, I would say. I suppose the big question still up in the air is who's going to do it, and that's still the possibility is there for it to be a more significant character. But then you don't necessarily want any long-term characters that we have grown to love to turn murderer, do we? I mean, it's bad enough when they say, hey, Toya's a murderer now, and we go, oh, okay then, if you say so.
What's worse than it being... Is it worse that if it's a main character that turns into a villain and then you lose them? Or is it worse when it's a main character who turns into a villain and then they're like, oh, but we just let them get away with it?
I do like to sometimes forget that Toya actually purposefully killed him.
Who's worse out of Tracy
It's easier
and
to
Toya?
stick my fingers in my ears about that one. It's got to be Tracy, hasn't it? Because just because killing Charlie Stubbs was just the peak of her
Just a laugh.
iceberg of crime. Okay, next one. This is my final clickbait for the week before we get on to the main
Jonathan
synopsising. Yeah, I said that earlier.
Thank you, Jonathan.
The Sun. Coronation Street fans work out which character is killed after telltale clue in soap flash forward.
Is this the thing to do with Megan and the fireworks?
Yes, it is. Did you see that one? I didn't know you'd spotted that. So go on, what do you know of this?
Megan was first introduced as a character on Fireworks Night.
Yes, do you remember there was the scene where it was them, the Driscolls inside, and then you cut to outside and Will is snogging away. Snogging away with her under the fake CGI fireworks, right?
And then it would be a very neat and poetic ending if her final night was on the night of fireworks for Swala Wedding.
Yeah, I don't mind the thinking there.
I don't remember who it was that said this. An account on Twitter said this, and it was a very good observation, and I think they need credit for it, but I can't remember who it was. Do you remember?
No, I've got no idea.
Were they credited in this?
Not got a clue. Probably. It's not a bad theory, but I think that
I think it's really. I like it. It's a very I'm studying English at university theory.
It's not anything that Coronation Street's gonna say. Hey, everybody! The clues were there all along. The fireworks who meant it to happen.
It's not in universe.
No,
it doesn't make sense in universe.
Right. Talking of that, we are going to start off.
This was Claudette's tea.
There we go. Well done.
They deserve to get credit for this because I do think that that people have run with that theory. But yeah, well done. And they're an Emmerdale fan, so.
Oh, there we go. Right. Anyway, as I say, I thought for the synopsis this week for Street Talk, we could start off with Monday's episode as a whole, because although it did a fairly good job of separating all the stories and continuing the cliffhangers from last Friday's episode, you did just have your occasional flashes back to the future again. So I'm going to put all that together. I've just called it Future Villain Killing. Which is my still work in process.
You're putting all of the flash forward stuff.
Not listen to anything I say. Yeah, we're going to do Monday's episode on its own.
Listen to what I say.
Okay, fair enough. We're going to do Monday's episode on its own first, and then we're going to do Tuesday to Thursday split out into stories.
Okay,
right?
so you're not splitting out the flash forward stuff.
No. That's all together. All together. That's a big talking point this week. So our second story up is going to be the Mama in the Slammer story with Debbie. Sub-story title Chariot of Fire, because it's like we were right in our theory last week that Carl is planning to set the hotel ablaze, although no particular time frame for that, I suppose. We're going to talk about Sam Cam next, which is our bespectacled hero's attempts at catching his wayward PE teacher having it off with the son of the local landlord.
Samantha Cameron, wasn't it?
Huh?
Prime Minister's wife, Sam Cam. She's called that.
Oh, well, there we go. Got her again. I'm pretty sure I used this next storyline title when Lily was born, but I'll call it Lily Delivered because she's been delivering papers, although not really. So I don't really know with that one. But
you could have that if she's got like anemia.
Yes. Malintentions, there was a little bit of, and there was a little minor story
getting creepier every week,
Steve
isn't he?
As well. He is, but he's very slowly doing it this week. We didn't get to see a whole lot of him this week, so I don't think there's going to be a whole much to our discussion there. But Gemma, I'm going to pass over to you, I think, to recount and remind us what happened on Monday's Corrie with all the fast-forwardy future. Because you really enjoyed the episode, didn't you? You left it particularly satisfied, right?
I thought, and on reflection, it was a reaction to the setup and the future of what this meant for the show and the theories and the discussions that we could have. So it was less about what I was presented with necessarily on the day and more about the potential that it had for us to all talk about this for the next month and a bit.
Yeah, well, that's what Corrie wants, isn't it? And I still think it feels a little bit, half-assed compared to when the Six story ran in EastEnders, and that was almost a year, wasn't it?
I'm not
leading
really
up
sure
to that big Christmas flash forward.
What's the thought process behind copying another soap but just doing it really not as nowhere near it, not even trying?
It doesn't. It's not that they're not trying.
But why take a concept from another soap and go, oh, we'll just copy it, but so people don't realise, we just won't do it very well.
Clearly, there were going to be comparisons drawn. I don't know how on earth you could put this story out there and think that people aren't going to compare it to the Six. And that was so huge. That really captured something that got everybody excited about EastEnders in 2020. When was that? 2023? 24, I think. And saying what an amazing job Chris Clenshaw was doing as producer. Corrie knows that this is a smaller version of it. Maybe it will, be more condensed, and it's a really tough one. And because it's a flash forward as well, it's, I don't know, it's, I still kind of stand by the fact that we're not gonna, we can theorize as much as we like, but we're not going to know until the day exactly. If you're saying, if you're reacting to, if a whodunit is a reaction to something that has already happened, you can look at how characters behave afterwards and say, right, I've seen the clues now. They're acting this way. They've said this. This means that they definitely did this. But it doesn't work that way for a flash forward, does it? Because none of the characters know that this is happening. So everyone is going to be acting as normal on screen.
Unless they're planning something.
Yeah, unless they're planning something. But then I'm sure Corrie will have lots of characters.
Planning something. Yeah, I mean, if it would become apparent, then wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think that Corrie's still going to try and make us think, oh, it's them, and kind of. So it doesn't. I don't know. It remains to be seen whether it works as well as a traditional whodunit, and whether the 2-month stint that we've got for it actually stops it feeling dragged out. I'm not sure, but I was still very keen to watch the episode on Monday. I was really excited by the prospect of it. We didn't know who the 5 victims were going to be, although looking at them now, they're all extremely guessable, aren't they? And I think that was why after Monday's episode finished, I was just feeling a little bit deflated, because I don't think there was really anything in there.
I see what you're saying. Not surprised you.
That we didn't already know, or that we couldn't have predicted based on the clues and the synopses that we were given. And hey, that's people's fault for looking at the spoilers, I suppose. And again, as always with these things, I'm really interested to hear the views of the viewers who had no idea that this was coming, because I know that you're definitely out there. What did you think of it? And were you kind of excited as things unfolded? I still think Coronation Street possibly could have done a better way on screen at explaining what they were doing, because I still saw some people who didn't get, just solely from watching Monday's episode, like, this is a setup for somebody's going to be murdered and it's going to be one of these 5 people that did it. And you can read the publicity that Coronation Street's put out there. You can look at the press release, and that very clearly says, yes, one of these is the murderer. But
no, the victim.
No, sorry, yes, you're right, the victim. But that's not super 100% as obvious as it should be from watching the programme. But I don't know how else you would have done it particularly.
When it started, even I said to you, because it starts off with Maggie.
Yeah.
No, it starts off with Betsy talking about in the interview room. Then we cut to, and it's obviously at night, and then we cut to the day, and Maggie's getting in a taxi. And I said to you when we were watching it, oh, is this is this also in the future? And you went, no, stupid idiot.
But we have seen other people with the same question, haven't we?
Well, when you get told something's going to be a flash forward episode, you think, oh.
Yeah. Or even if you're not told that.
Because I also saw people saying, well, I think it's stupid because it just shows me that in 2 months, Coronation Street hasn't moved forward with any of the plots. No, that's not true. You're watching an episode that's a mixture of current and future. So if you thought it was all future, I can see why you're thinking, well, this is just the same thing that was happening last week. Because it is supposed to be, it's a continuation of Friday. Yeah. So it was a bit confusing. They did, to be fair to them, there's not a lot else they could have done. Because they tried to make it clear from situating it at night and with the fireworks, and they kept it, they had a style for these flash forwards, which was a very tight shot of someone's face with the darkness and the them alone on the street. It was stylistically similar and each one echoed the other one, so they tried to delineate it using cinematic style, which is an established way of depicting something in this manner. So what else could they have done apart from have the date on the screen? I don't know.
It could very well, and I'm sure some people finish this episode going away thinking, could very well have been a way of presenting the 5 murderers, couldn't it? There wasn't anything that was really obvious to say these are the victims. No, because a lot of them were injured in some way. You had Carl with a big bruise to the side of his face, and you had Megan with a bloody nose, but that doesn't necessarily scream out this is a murder victim, because clearly whatever it is that has hit Carl on the head or whatever, that's not what's finished them off, because they all looked fairly conscious and not seconds away from collapsing, were they? So we saw these flash forwards, and at some point someone is going to land another blow on them or whatever.
Yeah, they'd been attacked, but they weren't dead.
If this was like the 90s, what we'd have had at the end of the episode is, who do you think is going to be the murder victim? If you think, blah, phone ITV on this number, 001. If you think it's going to be Megan, end in 002. And,
if you were affected by today's episode, go to itv.com.
I don't think so. They didn't care about that in the 90s. They just wanted to get the money from the phone-ins. And so, but I don't know how else they could have done it particularly. But
yeah, I mean, part of delineating it from current day was that they all had some kind of physical difference, like bloody nose or fringe or a bruise or something. There was something different, a little bit different.
Apart from Maggie. He just looked a bit schemy and a bit peed off.
Scheming cow. I think part of the reason also why I really enjoyed watching it is because we got to see it a bit early, didn't we? Naughty.
Yes.
Somebody at ITV
They pressed the button a bit too early, or pressed the wrong button, and it appeared last Friday.
Uploaded the episode like an hour early, and we only really
a few days
4 days early.
Yeah.
And we only got to see it because Michael was sick, and then we went online before we recorded. Normally we would be recording Coronation Street when this happened. Conversation Street. And so we went on and we were like, oh my goodness me, better quickly watch this before they take it down. So we got to watch it, and then so I was like, oh, it's forbidden.
You said that somebody put up Tuesday's episode early as well. Somebody reported that, but I didn't see that widely reported, so I don't know that that's true or not.
Might have just been a joke.
I'm sure they won't be doing it again in any time soon.
I feel really bad for whoever
somebody's wrists were probably slapped there.
Right, so having said all of that, let me tell you what happened.
Yes, remind me.
So on Monday, we have the flash forward, and it is Betsy in a police interview room in the darkness. She is dressed in what looks like a bridesmaid dress with a big loofah thing on the side
giant
of it.
Flower.
Well, it was like a net mesh with like pearls on it.
Yes, all the rage among bridesmaids.
Navy, is it? She was crying. And a detective is saying, recount what happened from the beginning. It's the 23rd of April. And she says, it's my mum's wedding today. And it was a really beautiful day. So we've established at the very start that this wedding, the Swallow wedding, I assume that Lisa's not changed her mind in the interim. And she is marrying Carla. And it all went off fine. So Lisa and Carla get married without any kind of interference on the 23rd of April.
Yes.
That's a Thursday, isn't it?
Yeah. We were talking.
They're obviously going for the discount.
We were talking on one of our reaction. Yeah, we were talking on one of our reaction videos the other day about whether that whole week is going to be set on the 23rd, because having a wedding followed by a murder, that's an awful lot to pack in to one 22-minute episode.
Well, that's my idea, wasn't it? I think
Yeah,
the whole week's going to be the 23rd.
Yeah, and I said, well, maybe we follow the course of the day from the perspective of a different.
Yeah, I mean, I do want Swallow
victim.
fans to get their wedding that they want, the nice, beautiful wedding. So I don't know how this is going to be. How is this going to happen? But
I'm just going to. The thing is, a lot of people are going to be watching it thinking, I don't care about the wedding. What's going on with the other characters?
Yeah, with the best will in the world, not everyone is as invested, which is why they're Swallow fans in the first place.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'd just be.
But I wonder whether the bods at Coronation Street know that and will therefore minimise the amount of on-screen wedding time, because they know that a lot of people are so invested in finding out who's killed off that they'll be more focused on that. I don't know.
It'd be really clever if every day of the week we got to see the wedding progress.
Yeah.
It's like, is it the picture of Dorian Gray where it gets older and older every...
Yes.
Like, every day. So Monday, maybe we follow Theo and you get to see Carla and Lisa getting ready, and you only really see Theo in the morning, and then on Tuesday you get to follow Carl and maybe they're getting to the venue and everyone's arriving, and then on Wednesday... I think that would
be a really good way of doing it, and it would certainly be appeasing those Swallow fans out there that would very happily
have
a whole week dedicated to the wedding, even in small parts. But I could, if I were a hardcore Swallow massive fan at the moment, I would probably be a little bit annoyed to think that the wedding day of my two favourite shipped characters is being hijacked somewhat by a murder.
I mean, I don't know how many people got married when we got murdered when we got married.
No,
I don't care, actually. That's their business, not mine. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen, but I would be. I'm fairly sure they filmed it this week.
I think it has been filmed this week. I believe.
Yes. So she says, Betsy tells the police officers in this interview that she's having in the darkness, because they haven't got the lights on. I think they're working on their circadian rhythms there. They've got some kind of like sleep issue. And so at night time, they're like, let's turn the lights off.
Mood lighting.
Going to take some melatonin and do this interview. So she says, me and Lauren went to town, but I forgot my ID, so I came back, and that's when I saw it.
I'm really interested to find out what on earth is the reason for her going to town.
We heard
on
somebody
the night
say,
of her mum's wedding.
Loads of teenagers go clubbing after a wedding.
Is that a thing? I don't know.
It genuinely.
It sounds a bit rude to me.
I genuinely think that is incredibly dependent on. I don't think lots of teenagers go clubbing after a wedding, because it really depends on where the wedding is being held. For a start, lots of them are in the middle of the countryside. You cannot go clubbing, and also lots of kids don't have the autonomy to go off doing stuff like this. Lots of parents wouldn't like it, especially on your own mum's wedding.
Yeah,
that's just weird. Anyway, she comes back and she sees it, and we find out
find out later what that it was, but obviously going into it we knew exactly what it was.
So we come back to the present, and Maggie is getting into a taxi, and this is her going to see Will at the police station.
To go and do a bit of fibbing, yes.
Carl and Jodie are looking at each other, and Theo is spying out the window. So all of these four characters are in the flash forward, but we don't know this yet.
No, you're right, actually.
So Theo is back from being with his mum, and he has still got Todd under his financial control, and he is giving him some coins for running, so he gets £1 for every mile that he runs. And so Todd dutifully puts them in his special secret tin, which is not very secret at all, because it gets found later. The Driscolls are talking...
Like the camera, isn't it? Things just getting discovered this week. People need to do a better job on Corrie of secreting them away.
Yeah, they do. Look for the dustiest place in your house, because that's where you can put anything.
Jodie's doing a good job with her secret box, isn't she?
Yeah, she keeps opening it right as people walk through the door, and nobody's found it yet. So the Driscolls are talking about...
That's the biggest out of all of the things, isn't it?
What?
Jodie's box is bigger than the secret camera and the secret tin. Yet she's still able to hide it.
The Driscolls talk about Will being released on bail, but Ollie reckons it's very possible that he could have done it. It being attacking Daniel at Christmas. And Ben snaps at him and says, no, Will's not that kind of lad. And Eva says to Ollie that Will's not the only one with a temper and they need to stop talking about this because Ben has got his heart troubles. And we know that he's going to be investigated about this, but we don't know anything more about what's wrong with him.
No, that hasn't progressed any further this week.
And we don't know whether that's going to tie into the flash forward. There's lots of things that could tie into this that I don't think I've really thought about, which is why I found this concept, even though, I said it's limited compared to what they've done with the 6. It's still really intriguing because there's lots of stuff that could be built into it. So Carla tells Lisa that she's got a surprise for her later. In the cafe, David comes in to drop Jodie's key off that she left on the side, and she's trying to get him to stay and keep her company, but he won't. So as we're going through this, listen to everything we're saying about all of these characters that turn out to be suspects for murderers or victims, because just to say it at the front, I can't remember if you said this properly yet, but the 5 suspects or victims are Carl, Jodie, Theo,
Maggie, and
Megan.
Yeah.
So we're learning what we're being given the situation of all of them, the current situation, and also their future.
Yeah, but the current situation is so far removed from the 23rd of April.
Anything could happen between then and now. So not all of this stuff is going to be relevant, but some of it might be.
If you're going to drop subtle clues into any episode, you're going to stick him in this one, aren't you?
So Carl makes a sarky comment to Abby and Kevin because they're back as thick as thieves together after their ordeal on the roof. And he's kind of like, well, look at you now. And Abby says, if you don't watch yourself, you're going to die a sad and lonely man. So there you go. Is that a threat? Is that a promise? Will comes...
Yeah, little prophecy there. Little prophecy.
Yeah. Will has been interviewed at the police station, and Maggie has told them that Will was with her at the time of the attack to give him an alibi. And Ben is very suspicious about this and doesn't know why she hadn't mentioned this before.
Yeah, well, as it's later reminded to us, she was actually with Roy at the time, wasn't she? Because she'd been kicked out of the pub. So it's made very clear very soon that this was a massive lie and it could all come crumbling down should even Roy get spoken to by the police. Not that there's any reason for that to happen, but everybody knows, including Eva, that Maggie
the Driscolls, they know that she was lying, which, wouldn't make you wonder why is she lying. What does she know? And as we all know, Roy doesn't like lying.
Well, we know that Maggie knows that Will's the one that did it, but I think just because she's covering for him, it doesn't necessarily follow that she is aware of the circumstances.
No, I know.
She could just be being the protective grandmother, which we know that she is.
Just like with the crash, the slightest bit of investigation would reveal the truth here. But as usual, Kit and Lisa are too busy with their personal lives to do any actual work. Although I think, isn't Lisa still on desk duty at the moment? Because of the
I don't
whole
remember, actually.
Debacle. Her wife being alive. So, at the pub, Eva says to Megan, I want a word with you. Do you think, privately, that Will attacked Daniel? And Megan says, I don't know, but I hope not. And, maybe Daniel's jealous of Will. And Eva says, if he did this, it would be over something bigger than a stupid crush. So Eva's got no idea still what's going on between her and
so what's going to happen first? Is Eva going to find out that Will is in love with Megan, and then she's going to infer, hang on a minute, he must have done it? Or is she going to find out that he did it and then say, well, does this mean that he's got stronger feelings for Megan? I wonder what's going to be the first revealed there.
Jodie comes home later and she tries to give Shona some money for rent, but Shona refuses. And then Jodie offers to cook them dinner. Oh no, take them out for dinner. And they thought that they were going out just together, but she books a table for 3 people. So she kind of muscles in on their date.
At the hotel.
At the Chariot Square
Which
Hotel.
is where everybody seems to converge.
Yeah, because Lisa meets Carla there because there's been a cancellation on the 23rd of April,
Classic.
a design fair, and they've pulled out because it's St George's Day and they've got other things to do. And so Carla proposes a little tiny wedding on that day, and Lisa's like, what? No, it's not soon enough. I would love to get married to you on the 23rd of April. And they have a hug.
Nice bit of acting from Ryan Prescott in the background there, where he's steering the champagne backwards and forwards. A little bit of a callback to Carla when she tried to propose with the ring and the champagne as well.
Very presumptuous of him to prepare 3 glasses, but we won't hold that against Ro, will we?
Yeah.
Uncle Ro. So, flash forward, Betsy says the thing she had seen is a dead body. And she's asked, did you know the victim? Who is it?
And like we said on our reaction video the other day, she doesn't particularly know any of these characters
at the moment
intimately well at the moment, does she? Apart from I live on the same street as them. The
inference is that she knows of them.
Everybody knows each other. The question is she going to get close to some of them or all of them over the next however many weeks it is, 8 weeks? Or is it still just going to be no, I know them because they live on my street?
And I don't know if you've written this down, but there was something that she said about nobody, it doesn't matter what they did, nobody deserves to die like that.
Oh, yeah.
And so all of these people have done something bad that you would say, oh, well, they don't, it doesn't matter what they did.
But I don't think that Betsy's going to know what everybody's done. Well,
she's going to have to, otherwise it's going to be obvious.
Why?
If she finds out she has to find out right before they die, because otherwise, in the run up, if she finds out that Megan's a pedo, then she'll go, oh, it's her that's died because she said. That's one of the clues, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so.
But it's not really a clue because all 5 of these people. I mean, Jodie's the one who hasn't done anything particular yet, but we suspect her of many things.
Yes.
Don't we? And also the other thing was no one deserves to die like that, which is very sinister and makes me wonder what it actually is that they die of, because it sounds gross.
Is it something gross and gruesome? It doesn't have to be. It could just be, they're found with their head claved in. Like you could say about
but that's
Craig
still horrible.
Tinker. Yeah, I know, but it, there's nobody deserves to die like that and horrible, and there's like absolutely with a Joker smile carved into their face, or their guts pulled out, or...
Well, yeah, it's gross. So, the other thing also that we haven't said is that it could be an accident. Like, just because somebody has died and the body was discovered doesn't mean that it was done on purpose. I think it'd be a massive cop-out. And Corrie has got form for massive cop-outs on these whodunits. And normally it's the person who done it is the cop-out because it's somebody you didn't suspect because they didn't tell you because they weren't a suspect.
I think Corrie has said it's a murder, it's a killing.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't agree with all of this extraneous dialogue and narrative about something. It should all be obvious from what you're watching, what is happening. You shouldn't need to give additional information to be able to follow the story of a soap.
Yeah, I suppose they could have given information about
it could have been
how they were found.
But, I mean, at the very least, they could have, at the very start of this episode, during the interview, they could have gone, Betsy, you do understand this is a murder investigation. Then that would have cleared it up completely.
Yeah.
That element of it. But I think a lot of people aren't even considering the fact it could be an accident.
It won't be.
I don't know. I don't rule it out because I know what Corrie's like. They like to, despite what Ian McLeod says about always going for the biggest possible, sometimes they do just cop out.
Yeah.
And it's always when you don't want them to. So anyway, after the break, the detectives say, "Thank you, Betsy, for your help. Do you know of any reason why somebody would want this person dead?" Which again infers some kind of extra knowledge that Betsy doesn't currently have about any of these people. That she might gain in the next few weeks.
Yes.
So, back to Megan and Daniel in the booth, and he is still insistent that it was Will that attacked him. And at that moment, this is when Will comes back from being released from the police station and is questioning. And Daniel's furious because he's just been let off with it. He hasn't been arrested or charged with anything. So Daniel squares up to Will and pushes him. And this is when Ben jumps into his son's defence and says, "Anyone who pushes my son won't live to tell the tale." And this is interesting because obviously Will, Ben and Daniel aren't anywhere in this list of possible victims. So we're supposed to think that this might be Megan.
Yeah, because this immediately flashes to the first little potential victims flash forward, doesn't it? Which is Megan outside of the Maisonettes, I think it was, with a bloodied nose
and a fringe. And lipstick, red lipstick. She's clearly been out somewhere for a nice night.
Maybe she's been to the wedding.
And we said this, didn't we, in one of our initial reaction podcasts. So we did 2 of them. So if you're really interested, you can listen or watch both of them. I don't think any of these people would be invited to the wedding. I don't think any of them have any links to Lisa and Carla. I don't think that Lisa and Carla either are the kind of women who go, I'll just invite everybody.
Well, I don't think that Lisa's going to be like, you know what, I'm going to invite the local villains to the wedding.
Theo, they don't know him.
Maybe that can be the theme, like Cops and Robbers wedding.
They don't know Theo. He's a scaffolder.
Well, Theo's done some work on the factory once, and that's about as far as it's gone. But not enough to warrant a wedding invite.
I mean, Megan is dating Daniel, who is Carla's ex-husband's brother.
Yeah, it's...
You've got Maggie, who's just the local pub owner. You've got... Who else have we got?
Jodie,
next door neighbour. You know, the sister of the next door neighbour. I don't know whether you would invite her, and I can't remember who else I've got left.
No, I don't know. You're right.
None of them would be invited if I was Lisa and Carla.
No, which is why I think that it makes it easier for the episode, doesn't it? Because there'll be the scenes at the wedding, and then everybody else will be somewhere else, running around being clobbered or bashed on the nose or what have you.
So flashback to Monday. Eve's telling Ben that Roy took Maggie to the hotel that night, so there's no way that she can be Will's alibi, even though that's what she said. And Ben's like, well, it doesn't matter because Will didn't do it, so if they've got to tell a white lie to get him out of it, then they'll do it. And this again shows the Driscolls are very loose with the law. You know, they don't mind bending rules to get what they want.
Well, especially if it's Maggie. I wouldn't say that Ben was, quite so...
Well, Ben's backing her up.
Yeah, I think...
don't forget that really weird, sinister conversation that Ben and Maggie had when they very first started in the show, where they had that discussion about... I can't remember what it was, but it was something where you're like, these guys obviously are dodgy. There's something going on here. Do you remember? Do you know what I mean? They were walking down the road.
Yeah, but I think that Ben is more acting in this way just because he does 100% think that Will is innocent here. I don't think he's even entertaining the idea that his precious boy would do this. So I don't think he's covering it up in the same way that Maggie is clearly covering it up. But I think that Will
would still cover for Will.
Ben would still.
Ben would, yeah.
Maybe.
But at the moment, you're right, he's not doing that, but Maggie is. Maggie knows for a fact that he did it because she watched him doing it.
See, I think that if and when Ben finds out that Will did this to Daniel, he's much more likely to just come down on him like a ton of bricks in the strict father sort of way. And I don't know whether he would march him down the police station.
Absolutely no way.
But maybe that's just because he'd be scared of what Maggie would do. But I think
he wouldn't want his son to get in trouble. He'd protect him.
He would protect him from the law, but I think he would, do his own kind of making sure that Will got what's coming to him, because we know that Ben is a real disciplinarian when it comes to parenting, isn't he? And he's not going to let Will get away with doing this. I
mean, no, exactly. But I also think that Maggie, if she found out that the reason why Will attacked Daniel was because he was in a relationship with Megan, she would blame Megan, and she's inadvertently covered for this paedophile. If she hadn't interfered, it might have come out that Will was being groomed. But because she interfered in that process of him getting justice for what he'd done, then it might have come out earlier. And so I can see her then, that being a really good motive for her to kill Megan, or try to.
Yeah, totally.
So, Eva walks past Maggie and tells her that she does not like the lies or the example that she's setting for Will, and it's illegal. And Maggie then says, you don't have any idea the length I'd go to protect my boys. I'd give my life for them. Then we have the flash forward of Maggie standing outside of the pub, and her expression is probably the most interesting to me, because she looks quite satisfied, triumphant.
Yeah, triumphant.
A bit scared, maybe a little bit
but mad.
Scared,
but really
she's
fuming.
Angry.
She's fuming. I think in the first one she's more fuming, and then the second time we see her, when there's the
spinning,
the spinning at the end of the episode, she's looking more triumphant.
Do you think that she is preparing to do something, or she's done something? Like, is she decided, like, right, I've got to kill Megan, or
I'm
or
still
is she
at
like,
the moment.
I'm glad I killed Megan.
At the moment, I am still sticking with the theory that somebody else kills Megan. No, sorry, that maybe Maggie kills Megan, and then she pins it on somebody.
Yes, I said that to you.
Yeah. No, but I agree with it.
Yeah.
I think that's a good theory. But I don't know. Would Maggie actually get her hands dirty, or would she be more likely?
She pushed Alan down the stairs.
I know.
Depends on what happened to them. But what Betsy said makes you think that it was something gruesome.
She's either pinned that Megan's death on somebody, or she has given somebody some information and thinks, well, Megan's for the chop now, because I've really riled this person up with this information.
Yeah.
Because she could just have been like, oh, my poor grandson, he's been taken advantage of by this Scarlet Woman, and
getting Daniel maybe to kill Megan.
Yeah, potentially.
Or thinks that she's done that. I mean, the other thing that we said,
I don't know whether Maggie is more of a person who's more likely to just want to do it herself, because does she want to trust somebody else to do her dirty work for her? I don't know.
The other thing that we said in our initial reactions is that just because whatever happens on the 23rd of April doesn't mean that we find out truly the real situation. So it might just be that the 23rd of April is when we find out who it was that died.
Yeah.
And then forward from that, it might be a whodunit about who it was that killed them.
Mm.
So,
but the fact that it's on a Thursday does make me wonder whether... I think 100% the identity of the killer isn't going to be revealed on the 23rd, but it could well be the 24th. It could be the...
Yeah, I don't know.
The end of the episode on Friday.
I really wouldn't mind them to drag it out, but I know that people already, it writes, you can predict exactly what people are moaning about.
But equally, Friday's episode could well be somebody discovers the body and then the police are asking questions, and then the end of the episode is but who did it? And you're right, that could then...
Yeah, but people already complaining that they're fed
it.
up with this and they don't like it, and they'll only complain more. But you can't really listen. I know we complain every week, but you can't listen.
Don't listen to it.
You have to, I've said this. I've stayed true to myself on this. You have to have the courage of your convictions, and if you've got a creative vision, you stick with it. It doesn't really matter what people say. You should stick with what you've decided as the creator of the show.
Yeah, for sure.
And you can do as many surveys and reactions and polls and Twitter, read what it says on Twitter as much as you want. When you start to fall into problems is when you start trying to please everybody.
Mm.
Coronation Street is a show with broad appeal, but it's not going to be for everybody every week, every episode even.
No.
That's because it's about lots of different things, lots of different people, different stages of their lives, different things that are happening to them. And we said before, just because I don't like something doesn't mean that somebody else will. And I like things that I don't like things that other people do.
Mm.
Doesn't mean it's wrong.
Yeah.
But you should have a vision and you should stick to it.
It feels a little to me like if 2 months is all we're getting for this story, which feels like it's the big story for 2026, that feels just a bit too much on the short side. So it wouldn't surprise me if it springboards off a whodunit.
I'd hope so.
Yeah.
And one of the things we always said about the tram crash episode was that it was good because it turned into a bunch of other storylines.
Yeah.
Right, so Maggie's scheming outside the pub in the flash forward. Then we go back to Monday, and Carl is in the booth of the Rovers getting completely drunk and heckling Kev, who is talking to Glenda, and Kev calls him pathetic, and tells him that everything that's happening to him is karma for what he's done, and tells him that you're getting what's coming to you. And this is also when I loved Carl going boo hiss, telling Kevin, and he also insinuates, he says something about, oh brother am I, I'm your brother, which doesn't work. Kevin doesn't work it out until
doesn't stay secret for long.
So then we have the flash forward to Carl outside the garage. He looks quite satisfied and pleased with himself, but he has a bruise on his eye and he's also got a bag over his shoulder. So to me, it looks like maybe he's had some kind of altercation with Ronnie or Kevin, but he's off to Germany with a big load of money.
I can't believe that that's the date he chooses to set the hotel on fire, because I know that he's been sorting out evacuation plans and he certainly isn't intending for anybody to die, but I think if you're going to do something like that, you probably wouldn't pick a day when you know that all your friends and neighbours, not that they're brilliant friends to him, are likely to be in there. I'd probably pick it on a more... It's only going to be a bunch of randos that get...
There's always people
singed
at the Chariot Square Hotel that he knows, Michael, because it's such a great venue.
This is true.
So Sally and Tim, back at Monday,
Back in the past.
are at Chariot Square having a date night at the same time that Carla and Lisa are there having their discussion. And Sally's ears are twitching when she hears them discussing this cancellation, and they have to then admit to her that they are having the wedding on the 23rd. Who else should be there at the Chariot Square Hotel? I mean, this would be a great time to burn it down, if you ask me. There's lots of people they could get rid of. None of whom I'd like them to get rid of, but it would still, thin out the herd, wouldn't it? David and Jodie and Shona presumably is in the loo.
Yeah, she starts off with them and then heads off.
Jodie's telling David that he and Shona are a safe couple and assumes the passion is gone. And when the food gets brought out, Jodie says to David in a very provocative way, why do I always want what Shona gets? And then she looks him in the eye and then she nicks a chip and says, I should have ordered the fish and chips. She doesn't mind sharing. Then it flash forwards to Jodie looking dramatic outside of the Platt's house, and she's got what looks like a little bruise on her cheek.
She looks like she's on the run from someone, isn't she?
She looks worried and hunted.
I can't particularly think at the moment who that would be hunting her, because her links on the street are very, very narrow, and she's got David, potentially, who could have come after her, or Carl. But
yeah, she's dating Carl. She's or Shona. Shona could get quite cross.
Yeah, but she also looked, we've seen that look in her eye once before, which was in the Corridale episode, when she was on the run from that.
And some people have speculated about their link with Corridale and Graham, who's the character who had her in the van. I can't believe for 1 second, especially given what Ian McLeod has said recently about the crossover, that it would be anything to do with Graham, and if it was, it would be the ultimate cop-out.
Maybe we do know that Coronation Street of late has been fans of having characters running away from faceless gangsters.
Yeah.
Curtis, Harvey.
Honestly, if Graham just rocked up on the 23rd of April and killed Jodie and buggied back off to Emmerdale, I think I'd riot.
Yeah, that would be
I'd be on a train the next day.
I think that Jodie is incredibly safe at the moment in the whole who's going to get bumped off, don't you?
She's my least suspected
She'd be
victim.
The most disappointing one, because it really would be the ultimate case of, so what? She's only been on the show for, at that stage, just under 4 months. Well,
she's got more potential than just... I mean, yeah, and it's not like... It's no slight on her character to say that it would be a cop-out, because... And you're right, who cares? It's not through lack of trying, but Coronation Street hasn't had time to establish any reason whatsoever for anyone to care whether she lives or dies.
No.
And that, again, no slight on her or the story, but you can't build intrigue in how many months?
Well, you can, but I
can't.
don't think that they will with her.
You can't. What? No, I'm talking about now.
Right.
She's been in it 2 months.
Yeah. Well, less than a month and a half she's been in it.
And also she's shown a sister, so I'm wondering if there is redemption in sight for her, if they want to keep her. I'm not bothered one way or the other with her particularly, because I think she's just a bit of a thorn in the side for a couple that I really like. So we cut to Todd, who's in his flat. He goes and opens the cupboard with his money tin in it, and it's moved. And he's clearly shocked about this. He's not sure whether stuff's been taken. I think there's still a bit of money. It sounds like there's money in there, but he doesn't really have time to check.
Theo has very purposefully left it in a way to make sure Todd knows that he's found it, though.
Theo comes in and he's smiling and he's like, "Oh, you should get a junior savings account because you are a silly little boy sometimes."
Little piggy bank.
Why do you think that is? Why are you so silly?
I bet Todd 100% had a little collection of NatWest piggy banks when he was little, like we all did.
The daddy and
back
the baby.
in there, the daddy pig in the suit and the little girl's pig in the green dress.
We never bought into that nonsense, Michael.
I thought you had those.
No.
Oh, for some reason I thought that you had those.
Where'd we get them from? Where'd you get them from? Saving money. I tell you what, there wasn't no savings going on when I was a kid. So he's asking, like, why are you so stupid, Todd? Is it daddy issues? Is it abandonment trauma? Anyway, just to remind you that we are going to the registry office, and after the 25th of March, you can't get rid of me.
So, I suppose
wedding.
that was a big unexpected reveal, but it felt really low key.
No one is talking about this.
Nobody's talking at all about the fact that, 4 or 5 weeks' time, we're going to be having a Theo and Todd wedding episode, potentially. It seemed like an odd place to drop it in.
The 2 gay weddings got set up in the same episode and only one is being talked about.
Yeah, I don't know what the purpose of not showing this, we're going to set a date, apart from it was shock value at the time.
Well, Todd is clearly not into it because he realises after Theo goes that he's been holding a massive kitchen knife under the water and the bubbles in the washing up sink, as Theo's been talking about this. So is that the thing? It doesn't really fit in with the rest of this because the 25th of March is a bit before the 23rd of April, isn't it? So if Todd sort of throws off the shackles of Theo's relationship, it would have happened like a month before this possible murder.
Yeah, which to me means that it's more likely that they're going to get wed.
Do you think?
Because if they don't get married on that day, then they're going to be split up, aren't they?
Well, yeah.
I can't imagine a situation where they're still an item but not married, because Theo wouldn't have it.
Well, Theo might just be messing with Todd's head.
I don't know.
But anyway, the flash forward then, the final one reveals the potential victim of Theo. And he kind of is quite hard to read in his little spin.
Well, I thought it looked a little bit like he was a bit in shock, having just been attacked, because he's got a bloody eyebrow. I mean, he's got no massive gaping kitchen knife-sized stab wound coming out of him, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But it looks like he's just been attacked, and he's just gone outside and is a bit surprised by it all.
Then we have the montage of everybody spinning around in their separate areas. And again, like I said, not necessarily this is happening simultaneously, because it would be quite funny if all 5 characters were just standing individually in the street looking worried. Then it ends with the voiceover of Lauren and Betsy as they find this body. Betsy screams, and they're singing whatever song it was that Carla and Lisa picked.
I don't remember. I don't know. So dramatic end to the episode, but still just a little bit let down on who some of the potential victims are. I think that some people are sleeping on the fact that someone is all of whether or not they're killed, all of them, bar maybe Maggie, are going to be involved in some kind of violent confrontation, which is why, again, we're not going to know until the very last minute which one of those is actually going to be killed. But also, whatever that violent confrontation is, it doesn't kill them. So Theo is going to end up with a cut, right? So can you see that being anyone other than Todd that delivers that to him? Could it be Summer, maybe?
But the trouble is, I can't see these all happening individually in a satisfying way in 22 minutes.
Well, yeah, that's why we talked about there maybe being a brawl or something that they're all involved in.
It would make sense. It would make sense. I mean, part of the reason why I think that they all had some kind of wound was to show you that this is a different time.
Yeah, it marks them, doesn't it? Yeah.
Marks them out as this is happening in the future, not now.
But I think that if we did go down the route of each episode that week is focusing on a different character, you could have, Monday ends with Todd slashing at Theo, end of the episode. Tuesday ends with... I still can't figure out who it would be for Jodie, because I can't see David hitting Jodie, could you? I could see Shona doing it if she realised what's going on.
I can't see anyone wanting to kill, at the moment, I think we've already established
Not wanting to kill her.
It just feels quite unsatisfying.
But somebody has got to attack them. I can see...
you mean Jodie?
Jodie, yeah. Carl, he's got the person that's got probably the biggest and widest list of potential people who want to stick one on him. So he is gonna be in a fight with somebody. Is Kevin gonna just punch him again? Is it gonna be Ronnie? Is it gonna be Ryan? Who knows? It could be anybody. And then Megan, obviously, she's definitely going to be attacked at some point, which to me means that between now and then, the whole thing with her and Will is definitely going to come out. And I think that probably, maybe that's why it made sense that Sam didn't catch them on the Sam cam this week, because that would have brought the reveal a little bit too close.
Yeah.
It feels to me that whoever it was that had made or gave Megan that bloodied nose, they've just found out about what she's been getting up to and they've not been happy with it. So that's going to mean it will be somebody like Ben, or I don't know whether Ollie, whack around the face with a frying pan maybe. But, you got the Battersbys, you got Toya and Leanne, and they're both very scrappy. And obviously incredibly protective of Sam. Nick, maybe. I think that's probably what's going to happen beforehand. And I think that my until I get any other evidence to the contrary, I'm saying that one of those is going to find out about what Megan's been getting up to. They're going to punch her, and then Megan's going to get killed off. Maggie will then pin the death on whoever it is that punched her. And quite possibly that person might think, oh, it was me that did it. But it depends on what the body's looking like,
So you think...
If Toya has punched Megan round the nose, but then her body is found mangled and with a head stoved in, Toya would be like, I'm pretty sure I didn't do that. But
so you think it's going to come out Megan is a pedo, and then Maggie's going to kill her after she's had a fight with somebody?
Yeah.
I think something's going to happen with Theo. Lots
of people are saying that this is about the right time for Theo to go.
But I think Megan is my pick for the victim, because I think she's irredeemable. But the same for Theo. I think that maybe it's got to be Todd does something to him or leaves him, or maybe it's the end of him and he just leaves the show in that time.
But he's not gonna escape, is he? That's not gonna be the end of Theo.
No, I think maybe just Todd stands up for himself and kicks him out.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I'll just have to see.
And Carl, do you think that all 5 of these characters will be gone by the end of April?
Maybe. They're certainly not all going to be. They're not going to be here, at the end of the year. All of them.
I think that Carl, Megan, and Theo will be gone, and I think that Megan, Maggie, and
I'm 50-50 on her.
And who else?
Megan.
No.
Jodie. Sorry.
Jodie's going to be here at the end of the year. I think Maggie might be going in October.
After a year. Yeah.
That's my prediction.
Okay, right. Let's move on and talk about some of the other stories.
No.
And there wasn't loads in the other stories that really feeds into any more of this theorising, was there? Because we find out in the Carl story, it gets revealed that he's the brother of Debbie, so I suppose it gives...
No.
The son of Debbie, sorry. It gives Kabin and Ronnie a bit more reason to hate him.
They're not going to be holding this grudge until the end of April.
I wouldn't have thought so. And let me run through that story first then. So Tuesday's episode kicks off and Carl is already deep in plan about somebody setting fire to the hotel. When Ronnie comes along and they have a little bit of a spat about Carl saying, I'm entitled to compensation after everything that's happened to me, and Debbie knows it, and Ronnie's like, no way, you're my enemy, I'm not having any of that, thank you very much. And we do get to see some prison scenes this week, which was lovely. I said last week on the podcast that I was a little bit worried that we wouldn't get to see any prison scenes until Farrell Hegarty got back from a little Australian trip, but it looks like they managed to squeeze in a few others there. And she has a little bit of a memory blip, doesn't she, when she refers to Lou as Abby. But that really is just there so that Lou can say to her, look, you need to be careful. If people think that I'm going by a false name or whatever, then that's not going to be good for me. So sort yourself out. And this is when Debbie apologises to her and explains about the whole dementia thing. And I don't know, I thought at the end of that scene, Lou was looking a little bit schemy and like, how can I use Debbie's dementia to to profit for myself? But we didn't see any of that later in the week, so I don't know. I'm still a bit on the fence about whether this is going to be a redemption story for Lou or whether they're just going to use her as a villain and have her being someone who makes life in prison a hell of a lot worse for her. But they've got this what's her name, Pauline or Paula? Yeah, they've got Paula for that. Yeah, Paula. So probably more likely at the moment that Lou's going to be on Debbie's side.
Yes, now, she's taken her under her wing. She feels sorry for her. She finds out about the dementia.
Yeah. So you've got this bloke coming into the hotel. This is somebody that Carl was on the phone to earlier. But he's pretending he's a handyman and wondering if anything needs doing. No, says Ronnie. But when Ronnie's back's turned, this bloke starts taking sneaky pictures of the lobby area. So he's clearly scoping it out for this future arson attempt.
This guy is so unimaginative. He can't just sit down and order a cup of tea.
What?
Just and take photos like you would. I could go in there and take photos of a lobby for an arson attempt. Much simpler than he did.
Yeah, he did make a bit of a song and dance about it, didn't
yeah.
he? Well, later on, Ronnie spies him talking with Carl outside of Victoria Gardens, and this is when they're talking about an evacuation plan and whatever.
Because Carl's going, don't worry about it, mate. I'll be the last one out. I'll make sure everyone survives. And Carl would not care one bit. He wouldn't care who died.
No, I don't think so.
No.
I'd be very surprised if that was the case.
No.
So anyway, they go in different ways, and then Ronnie speaks to the man and says that, what were you talking to Carl about there? And the bloke just says, oh, nothing, we're just passing the time of day, just talking about the weather. And Ronnie says, well, and I love this when he snapped the guy's photo and says, if you're planning anything dodgy, no, I've got your photo.
I know,
that was a great
I don't
move.
believe you. He's like, the thing about me is that I'm bad at describing people, so no, I know what you look like for the future. He's like, don't bother, I've got your number.
Ronnie, in many ways, went up in my estimation this week. I quite like the cocky, confident Ronnie. It's almost like now he doesn't have Debbie there. He's like, I'm the big I am. Like, even when this bloke comes to the hotel asking for handyman work, Ronnie's like, hey, well, I'm pretty handy myself, actually. I'm the boss, I'm in charge here.
I don't need help to do anything.
Yeah, I enjoyed Ronnie this week, and that's kind of what I'm hoping for this story, because he's still a bit of a bleh character for me.
He is Mr. Debbie, right? But Debbie's not there, so now he can come into his own a bit more.
Yeah.
Nobody can be the centre of attention when Debbie's on screen.
No.
So now he finally can thrive.
Who'd have thought that the best thing for him would be his wife getting locked in prison? Yeah. Speaking of the prison, this is when we get to see another scene there, and Lou's asking Debbie to keep stum about her diagnosis. Say, look, it's just going to make you an easy target.
Don't tell people that you've got it.
Yeah, and also keep your head down around Paula, who's this other prison character that comes over and tells Debbie, you kicked me out of your hotel once when I was drunk. Looks like she's made herself an enemy there. Which is weird at the end of the week when Paula's there crying and getting her hair fondled by Debbie.
That was a really misjudged scene.
It seemed to be, didn't it? Yeah, I was a bit confused there. So anyway, end of Tuesday's episode was great. And this was when Carl reveals to Ronnie, ha ha ha, I'm actually Debbie's son. And And I didn't see this coming whatsoever at this point. I think when we were talking about doing our reaction video on Monday, we were saying, well, there's still plenty that needs to come out before the 23rd of April, but I wasn't expecting this particular bombshell to drop the very next day.
Yeah, because Ronnie goes up to Carl and goes, I rumbled your plan and your little friend won't be helping you.
Yeah.
Why the hell Debbie hasn't told you to pound sand, I don't know.
Yeah, and he's like, well, actually, it's because I'm her son. Ha ha! She chose me over Kevin, and now she's going to choose me over you. So that was a brilliant moment of overconfidence and overinflation in his little mind that is going to be all the more satisfying when everything
I don't know.
goes wrong for him eventually.
Vinter Morgan was totally left hanging by the script here because Carl's there going, I'm her son. What are you going to do about it? She loves me more than she loves you. And he was like, I can't say anything. There's no words in the script. I just stand here and look confused. Like, in real life, you go, what the hell are you talking about?
I thought that there was less reaction from both Ronnie and Kevin than this bombshell merited, to be honest, because the next day...
Genuinely, I agree with you. I was so disappointed by this revelation.
Yeah, the next day, I mean, Kevin's mad about it when he and Ronnie go to prison, but...
They're both like...
This is earth-shattering, life-changing news that's come out here, and they're just like, that's really annoying, actually.
Yeah, I hate Carl. Is this not just in their characters, though? Like, oh, emotion, what to do? Punch, just punch. Only
I suppose
punch.
at the beginning...
Don't think, only punch.
At the beginning, Ronnie doesn't believe Carl, does he? Because he says, I'm going to go into prison and find out the truth about it.
Debbie gets more visitors in prison than I got in hospital.
She's having a great time in prison. She's living her best life.
And I tell you what, another thing that I'm mad about is that you don't get free access to tea and coffee in hospital, but you do in prison. Explain that to me.
Anyway, this is when we get this this bizarre scene with Debbie and Paula, whose fella's split up with her, and Paula's there sobbing away, and Debbie's kind of stroking her hair. We find, what is it? Her fella's in prison for accidentally cutting someone's fingers off, or is that why she's in prison? I can't remember.
Aggravated burglary.
Was this the Jonathan Harvey episode that I wasn't a particularly fan of? So sometimes they just kind of throw ridiculous situations into a script, and people talking about it like it's normal, and
it can be incredibly funny. But the thing I had this week, a few times, it felt like scenes were missed out or things were assumed, and I don't know where they came from. Like, and I know it was done for brevity because there's only so much you can, the story's got to keep momentum, but you've only got 22 minutes. And so Paula just out of nowhere crawling into Debbie's arms for emotional succour. Where did that come from? And then was it I don't know if it was Thursday or Friday when 1 minute Carl's in being interviewed at the police station, the next minute he's not in the police station, he's out, but he hasn't acknowledged at all the fact that he'd been in the police station.
Usually Corrie can't resist the opportunity to show an interview scene, and they just skip right over it.
I mean, I can see why, you don't have to show every single one, but it was just a bit disarming, and I wasn't really sure. It felt like they missed a scene out. Yeah,
well, you said on one of the shorts this week, didn't you, about the 22-minute format not working for you in these episodes this week, and I would agree on the whole for these episodes. Fortunately, since they'd made the switch last month, I've been generally happy with how long a 22 episode has seemed, because I was really worried that it would feel like things were ending before they got going, but on the whole I've not felt that. But there were some this week that the credits started rolling and I was like, oh, is that it?
It doesn't mean that it's not going to work. It doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean that everyone should have always known this was not going to work. It means that they're still working it out.
Yeah.
And this team, I know that Emmerdale's been doing it for a long time, and EastEnders is kind of marginally longer. But this Coronation Street team is, some of them have worked on other soaps, but, this is the first time they've done this. And it's not always going to be smooth sailing. And even when you've been doing it for years, it's not always easy to work out the tempo of a story. And even when they had 3 episodes a week that were an hour long, some of them were boring.
Yeah.
So let's not pretend that there's a massive, obvious, glaring fault with having this format.
No, I don't think
like,
there is.
It swings and roundabouts. There's benefits to both ways of doing it. This is a different way of doing it. And if it's what they need to do to make the soap live longer, then I think they should. And I don't think anybody went into changing the format lightly. I think they did it for budgetary reasons and talent reasons, because, you know, you've seen actors be in hundreds and hundreds of episodes in a year, and it's not sustainable for them. So, and it's not sustainable necessarily for the production to be doing 6 episodes a week, every week, for 52 weeks of a year. So you've got to be realistic about what's achievable.
Yeah.
And maybe it means that sometimes you watch a week where you go, this didn't work really. But who's really going to sit there and tell me with a straight face that it was perfect before now?
No, exactly. And I think you're always going to have people who favour one episode length than the other.
I definitely prefer the longer ones, but, you know.
Anyway, so Debbie's there comforting Paula, but before you know it, she's accidentally, maybe, called her a gob on a stick in an affectionate way, and Paula's not particularly enjoyed that, and wound up with a punch, giving Debbie a punch in the face. So Lou sends Paula off.
Lou has to rescue her. She comes in.
Yeah.
And sort of pulls Paula off of Debbie.
Sends her on her way, and Debbie's a little bit upset. She's saying, I'm getting worse in here.
Well, Debbie's shocked at herself because she didn't realise that she was in danger and she had been completely misjudging the situation.
Well, yeah, she's been putting her feet up and actually not finding it too bad in prison, has she, for the past couple of weeks? And I think this was a bit of a shock to the system, realising how volatile people can be.
Some of these people in here are not emotionally stable enough to take a gentle ribbing.
Yeah, exactly. So Kevin and Ronnie go and see Debbie later on, and they clock the black eye, and she says, it was saying summer and out. It's all tickety-boo now. She can tell that there's something up with Ronnie, though, and he comes out with it straight. Carl's told me that he's your son. Is that true?
She's like, nuts.
She can't hide it. So
she doesn't even attempt to.
Kevin's not particularly happy to find out that he's been lied to all his life, and is saying, my dad took that secret to his grave. And Debbie says, it's been gnawing away at me for 40 odd years. I mean, we said that there was a bit of an underreaction, and this is as heated as I suppose it got. It just feels like in real life it would have slightly wider ripples.
This happens all the time in Coronation Street, though, where the reaction that gets the most time and attention is the viewers. So we got the big reveal that Carl found out from Debbie that the truth of the matter, and that was the biggest reaction that we ever saw, because it was us that was it was really us that was reacting. It wasn't the character. Yeah. But now we know already that the time is not being given to everybody else to react to it, because there's no emotional connection. Well, there's less, but I would love to see more of people reacting to this.
I'd be quite interested to see Sally's reaction. I don't know whether we'll get it, but as a member of the family, as once was, she'd love that gossip, wouldn't she?
I don't know. Yeah.
She'd love spreading it.
Like,
I'm sure we'll never find out what Rosie and Sophie think that Uncle Carl is actually.
It's also very weird the way they've worked out the timeline of this, with Kevin overcoming his depression right before he gets given this absolutely devastating news. He's been lied to for 40 years by his dad, who took a secret to his grave. It would have made sense if he had found this out and it added to his depression, because just deciding on a rooftop that you don't want to be sad anymore is no way to turn around proper depression. You can't just snap yourself out of it because your ex-wife told you to pick some crisps up.
I would be absolutely heartbroken if I was Kevin, knowing that my dad had lied to me all that time, and those two had a pretty good relationship, didn't they?
Well, also the fact that he lost his dad to Germany because of hiding the secret. And his, I thought we were super close, me and Debbie, and now she's not told me the secret. And if given time, you would come to terms with the fact that it wasn't really a secret that belonged to anyone in particular, because Bill couldn't have said anything because it wasn't his secret. Debbie was keeping the secret from Carl.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a lot more to it than that, but it just kind of got brushed under the carpet in a couple of episodes. And because Kevin and Ronnie's reaction was so physical to it, you kind of lost the emotional impact. And but I do think it is true that these guys would channel it into just physical violence.
Yeah, I suppose so, because Kevin says, I'm going to go and kill Carl. I could kill him for this. Maybe on the 23rd of April. I don't know if I can hold it in until then.
Hang on, I think I've got an MOT then.
Yeah, he can't hold it in until the 23rd of April, so he and Ronnie go and find him round the back of the Rovers, don't they, and give him a good doofing. And Kevin says, Carl, you need to tell the police the truth or your life won't be worth living. No way are they going to have Kevin kill Carl as part of the Flash Forward episode, are they? They are not turning Kevin into a killer here.
Yeah. Also, the conversation between Carl and Kevin and Debbie and Ronnie was, some of it was Debbie blaming herself for how Carl had turned out because she abandoned him to Elaine, who treated him badly. And so you've got that guilt, and that sets up what she's like on Friday and with him.
So it's funny because it's really interesting how much classic Coronation Street or elements of it are mirroring what's going on in real modern Coronation Street at the moment. Because we've literally just had Kevin come out of a couple of weeks in prison when he was sent down for bopping John Stape on the nose after finding out about the fact that he'd been having it off with Rosie. And Kevin's like, well, I'm not doing that again. I'm not going in prison again. And literally he was a hair's breadth away from having the exact same thing happen to him this week, wasn't he? So he's not learned a lesson. But yeah, Kevin's certainly not one to be able to hold his temper in if something has narked him.
Do you think people ever change?
Kevin certainly doesn't. I don't know.
I think we can try, but some things are just inevitable.
If Kevin had gone and found Carl and said, "Look, Carl, let's just talk this out. Let's have a bit of a meditate together. Maybe light some incense, and we'll just talk through how we're feeling." I think that would have been the biggest jump the shark moment since Toy's baby retcon.
Maybe.
Anyway, Thursday comes round and Debbie's in a right state at the prison, but she doesn't really want to go into it now, she tells Lou. And Lou says, I'm going to be here to listen if you need it. I don't think... We didn't get to see a whole lot of Debbie on Thursday. It mostly focuses on what's going on with the Websters and the Baileys. So...
Yeah,
they let themselves into Carl's hotel room. And this is, again, more of why I enjoyed Ronnie this week. He was just doing whatever he fancied. He's like, yeah, I'm the boss of this hotel. If I want to walk into one of my hotel rooms, then I will, actually.
I also love the fact that he owns, because he's married to Debbie, technically he owns the hotel. But it still looked like he broke in using like a brass
little
door plate or something. Like, why you could have just surely there's a key. And they both burst in like it reminded me of Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo. It was so funny watching Ronnie like stomping around like big man Ronnie, and then Kevin's next to him going.
Well, they can't Carl down the police station, and Carl ends up turning the tables back on them and saying, well, I want them done for assault. They could have seen that coming.
Because Kit's there behind the desk, and they all come running in together like a bunch of kids after playtime, blaming each other for a conker.
Oh, I know this well.
Yeah, so they're all run up to Kit going, Sir, he's secretly somebody's son. No, guess what? They beat me up. Well, he was a drunk driver.
Kit's like, have you told the lunchtime supervisors about this? Because somebody else could have dealt with this and not me. I've got my paperwork to do. I don't want to be doing this.
He says, everybody, right, so let me just get this straight. You're accusing these two of beating you up, and you two are accusing him of causing the accident that Debbie's in prison for. Right.
This was the episode where everybody was interviewed, yet none of it was shown, wasn't it?
Yeah,
this was very much sped run to the end of the episode.
You all individually,
yeah,
okay?
Nobody wants to see that though, so let's just go straight to the end of the day when Kit comes to number 13 to tell Kevin, I'm not going to do anything.
No, I've decided.
You're not having charges pressed against you about the punch because it's your word against his. We're not reopening Debbie's case either because Lisa's not in the mood for that. So just be smarter next time, please. And Ronnie says, yeah, we're not dropping this. We are going to be smarter about this, yeah.
Kit comes in, he's like, I looked at the forms. And honestly, Like, I know it's not Friday, but it feels... Do you know what I mean when I say it feels like a Friday? And you guys don't do nothing on a Friday, do you? So I was like... Forget it.
No, just
no.
Carl is not dropping this, though, because by the end of the episode, he decides that he's going to go and see Debbie and probably get her on his side.
Yeah, Debbie gets told she's getting a visit from her brother, and she's like, oh, is Kevin coming? And they're like, no, your other brother. And she's like, oh,
it's Carl.
It's my son.
We didn't get to see a whole lot of this story on Friday. There was only a couple of scenes, wasn't there? And so he goes to see her and he hears all about her delicious stodgy puddings.
You were thrilled.
I was thrilled about whoever it was today that put the word stodgy into the script, because Gemma and I have a long-standing debate about that word. And I would say that the word stodgy can be the ultimate compliment to a particular type of British pudding. You know, just something that really clogs up your arteries, like a nice bit of chocolate bread and butter pudding. It's delightfully stodgy.
Bready.
And you said that if ever I described anything that you made as stodgy, you would...
No, hang on, let me tell the story correctly.
Okay.
In my world, the word stodgy means it's cloyingly badly made and you have done something wrong. Like if you had a stodgy Yorkshire pudding, it's too thick. It's not crispy and light. It's stodgy. It's soggy and like
sometimes you just want a bit of pappy slop.
No. It's like you haven't cooked it correctly. Like if you had a stodgy bit of bread, it's because it's not baked right, okay? And the only time I've ever heard anybody use the word stodgy as a compliment was when you said to me, I made you and I don't know what it was, some kind of delicious pudding, and you went, oh, this is stodgy. And I was like, excuse me? How dare you? And you were like, no, stodgy is a compliment.
But you know that now from me. And so does Debbie think that. She's like, nice bit of jam roly-poly.
It must be regional, because I literally have never heard anybody use stodgy as a compliment near me. And also, we got lots of other, just say I'm wrong again, lots of people wrote in to say that John and Jonathan are two different names.
Yes, exactly. Somebody has written in to say that.
Many people wrote in to say that, and I say back,
thank you very much, everybody.
I don't care, it's the same name.
No, it's not.
It's clearly the same name.
Not going into that now. Right, Debbie, what's your favourite Pridden pudding? That's what I want to know.
What's your favourite
jam? Is it the spotted dick? Is it the jam roly-poly? Is it what other classic British
sticky
puddings?
toffee pudding, jam, Sussex pond pudding.
Oh, not so much of a classic.
Not a classic, but anything. Oh, chocolate fondant pudding.
Yeah.
Anything that anything you
apple
boil.
strudel. That's a school dinner pudding, isn't it? Oh. But not stodgy.
Anything you can have custard or cream with is a stodgy pudding.
Anyway, Debbie's talking to Carl and saying, well, Adam's saying my appeal's going through, could get an early release, actually, and when I do, I want to get some quality time with you. But he says, I don't know whether I'm going to be able to do that, actually, because, my money's running out. I think I might have to disappear back off to Germany again, the land of...
free money.
The land of free money. I don't know whether he's just remembering the hyperinflation that was hitting the country 100 years ago. It's like, there's towers of money all over the place. The children play with it in the streets. But
the wheelbarrows of it.
It does the trick, but Debbie does realise briefly that she's being used as his personal golden goose, as she puts it. But he's able to play it so that she ends up saying, okay, then you can have some money.
He says, I've got to take responsibility for my life, but I need money to do that. And I don't know if she accepts that she is the golden goose or if she forgets she said it. But she tells him she's going to get Ronnie to give him some money. I cannot wait
because she's feeling super guilty still.
This scene, we're not going to get to see this, but I would love to see Ronnie get this message, give Carl money.
Yeah.
I'll give Carl a knuckle sandwich.
Well, I thought that we would see that because I think this was fairly early on in the episode, and then it was just we didn't see any more of it for the rest of the show. But yeah, that's going to really grate on Ronnie, isn't it? Having to transfer that money.
I just wouldn't do it. If you're in prison...
Oh, maybe he will refuse.
If you're in prison...
You can't demand that somebody does that with
But it's your money. Can you conduct a business while you're in prison?
I don't...
Can you phone the bank yourself? Can you, do banking?
I don't know. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Possibly.
I don't know.
Possibly. So, did you enjoy the developments in this story this week?
Yeah, I mean, it's ups and downs. I did love the combo of Kevin and Ronnie rampaging around the street, beating Carl up in various different ways.
Carl still coming out smelling of roses didn't go down too well with me, but he'll get his comeuppance at some point, won't he? And I was very pleased to see a little bit more of Lou and Debbie in prison as well.
I just love Kit being like, well, you're all as bad as each other, so I could give you all detention, or I could just pretend I never heard this.
Right, yeah, exactly. Should we just apologise to each other now, please? And that's the done with that. I won't have to call your parents then.
Shake hands.
Right, Sam Cam. I enjoyed this story this week. Lots of lovely Sam. Just a little bit frustrated that he was thwarted by the end of it. Do you want to give us a quick rundown of what happened here?
Well, on Tuesday, Sam's got to do revision in the flat. And
he's doing his GCSE a year early.
Maths.
GCSE maths a year early. We found out today, which is a brave move. But I think lots of kids are doing that these days.
They?
I hear that early GCSEs and A levels are becoming more of a thing.
With people?
It seems to be like so they can squeeze more in later.
No one cares what you get. Maybe it's more competitive now, but
maybe it
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't care. So we had the "What's your favourite jam?" from Daniel asking Sam what's your favourite jam, and Sam said strawberry.
Strawberry,
which is
because
yours.
he's a bland, boring sod like me.
You don't even like jam.
I love strawberry jam. I've migrated from not liking jam to quite liking strawberry jam, but still, the idea of jam on toast does not seem right to me.
That's
jam
bizarre.
is a pudding thing you have with your puddings.
But you make
have it on
toast
your bottom on your
into
sponge
pudding
cake.
while you put jam on it.
No,
when was the last time you had it?
I've not had it once in my life. Jam on toast.
And your
It's just
wife
not a thing.
makes delicious jams from for produce that she painstakingly grows in the garden, and you don't even care.
Yeah. Why did you want to know anyway? Is it just so that you could surprise Megan with a...
I don't understand why you would solicit advice from a child about what sort of jam to bring your girlfriend.
Well, Sam is a very knowledgeable, worldly wise kind of guy, isn't he?
You could ask 1,000 people and you'd still get the same answer, that strawberry jam is the most popular jam. And I bet when he went to the shop, that was the only one that was there anyway.
I can't see that Deb has got that much of a selection out on the
He
shelves.
doesn't have pistachio biscuits. He doesn't have anything but strawberry jam.
Strawberry jam and a bit of marmalade, maybe.
Yeah, strawberry jam and marmalade, that's it. And maybe some apricot if people are baking.
Or raspberry. Raspberry's a fairly common jam flavour, isn't it? But you don't want that because you get the bits stuck between
Michael
your
won't
teeth.
eat raspberries.
No, not a raspberry fan.
Which is sad because we have an entire patch of raspberry plants on the allotment. So, anyway, Daniel goes to the hairdresser's flat with some jam for Megan, and he's still convinced that Will attacked him, but Megan's like, no, I don't think so. But, just don't wind yourself up about it, just let it go.
I'm trying to remember, does Megan know that it was Will?
I don't think she does. I don't think she's asked. Has she asked him? He would have lied anyway.
Yeah.
So she's like, let it go. And he tries to arrange to have a sexy evening and with her. But she says, no, I've already got some stuff. I've got to do lesson planning because she's already arranged to see Will. So then Will at the pub asks Ben, can I go to a mate's house to do a science project and stay over to the morning? And Ben's like, what? That's weird. What science project's this? Is it like to do with sex education? Because it sounds like it. Anyway, Daniel and Megan go to the pub to try to rebuild bridges with Will.
Yeah, which Will only agrees to do in front of Ben so that his dad can maybe say, oh, go on then, you can go off and do your science project at your friend's house. But I loved Daniel's not looking Will in the eye when he was shaking his hand reluctantly.
What, Daniel?
Daniel lowering himself to shaking hands with somebody who he has had this massive grudge against, who's clearly got the hots for his girlfriend. Little does Daniel know exactly the extent of this, but he must have been so demeaning for him. Somebody who is already very so up himself already, to have to lower himself to shake hands with his rival / enemy.
You shouldn't think you're better than the kids you teach. They're there to learn from you. Of course they don't know as much as you do. He's so superior. Anyway,
it does the trick, doesn't it? Because Ben then graciously allows Will to go to a mate's house in inverted commas.
Yeah, and then Sam overhears Will outside the pub leaving a voice message for his mate about organising a takeaway for later. And he sees Sam and says, oh, stop creeping around me, you weirdo.
Oh,
I still don't really understand what went on.
I'm not really sure what went on there as well. Did he go to a mate's house? Or did he...
The way he was talking on the phone, it was not as though he was talking to Megan. But he wasn't aware he was being watched, so why was he pretending?
I didn't know whether he was, like, phoning his mate, saying, look, if Dad rings you, then let's say that you're at my house. It wasn't important anyway.
So
was it?
Sam...
Well, the most important thing out of this was the weird way that Will was holding his phone and talking into the top bit. He was like pinching it at the top, wasn't he? And then speaking into the bit where the sound comes out. Is this what kids do these days?
It seems so. So later on, Sam is staking out the pub and Will comes out and he tails him over to Leanne's front door. And he's like, what are you following me for? I'm going to just see Miss Walsh first about a race. And Sam's like, very suspicious. Megan buzzes Will in, and Sam starts a timer on his phone and hangs around outside.
This is such a Sam thing to do, isn't it?
He's out there for an hour and a half waiting
in the cold.
Yeah. Toya pulls him away because they're going to have dinner at the bistro, and I'm not sure that he gets to see.
I think he does. I think this is just as Will and Megan come out of the flat.
They're going to go off to a hotel
pulled
together.
Away, yeah.
And Megan panics because she sees that he's there and she ducks behind something and says, oh my gosh, we've got to wait for him to go. And Will says, look, he's not as smart as he thinks he is. So I think this was supposed to be another evidence gathering mission thwarted as far as Sam is concerned.
I mean, the fact is that Will was still in there for an hour and a half at this point. So I think you're right. There's no hard evidence there, but I think it then boistered Sam on the next day to say, well, I need to find out what they're getting up to up there now. I know that he's spending longer there than is reasonable that you'd expect. So what are they getting up to?
On Wednesday, Sam surprises Megan by being in the flat when she comes home, and he says...
no, she's just come out of the loo in the morning.
Well, he says, I'm just revising in here and I'll be gone by the time you get back. When's that going to be? And she says, well, about 4, I guess. So when he's left alone, he starts sneaking around looking for something or somewhere to put something. Then later on, we get Ben telling Maggie that Eva reckons that she is making Lauren and Ollie work separate shifts on purpose because she doesn't want them to end up together as a couple.
Yeah, this isn't really anything to do with Megan and Will, is it? But I'll put it in there anyway because it's Driscoll related.
Maggie's like, yeah, I do not like Lauren. She's not good enough for Ollie. She's a misery got a single mother, which I think is probably the 4 most accurate words ever used to describe Lauren.
She's not wrong, is she?
No.
She's not wrong.
She says,
if I was Maggie and the only thing I'd seen of Lauren is how she behaves there, no way would I want my grandson going out with her.
No, exactly.
She's common, is what Maggie would probably say. I'm not one to judge, but she is a bit, isn't she? And she's surly and she's miserable and she's work shy. Why on earth would you go along with? And I know, lots of people would say, well, it's not up to me to decide who my children or grandchildren date. But Maggie is not the sort of person to stay quiet. So, be backwards and coming forwards about anything related to her family. So I don't blame her in the slightest for what she's doing here.
Maggie says, mind you, she wouldn't be the first person in this family to be blinded by an air-headed bottle blonde with no concept of modesty. And yet again, Eva looks upset and Ben looks like... Oh, what can I do?
Oh, Ma.
There's nothing you can do. Right, so Megan's in the precinct with Will later, telling him about Sam. And she's like, right, what we need to do is have a good cop, bad cop kind of approach. So I'll be the bad cop, you be the good cop. And we get to see this happening later on. But before then, Maggie confronts Ollie about his intentions towards Lauren and whether he really can see himself with a future. Feeding a baby when he could be out gallivanting wherever he wanted on mini breaks and stuff. And he says, well, she's a laugh. And Maggie says, you're throwing your life away. Could it be that Maggie kills Lauren for being a drag?
Maybe.
Sam is back.
I want to see Maggie grab her by the hoop earrings and swing around like Miss Trunchbull. That I would pay to see.
Oh, I like that poor monkey, Punch.
Oh, yeah,
Is everybody following poor Punch? He's been adopted now. There's a mummy monkey that's giving him a cuddle.
Yeah. This has been the real news this week,
watching poor little Punch the monkey is what Corrie needs. Corrie needs that. Corrie needs to forget the script, Just have them like groom nits out of each other and swing each other around by their ears. Sam's back at the bistro later, telling Nick that he is going to do his maths GCSE a year early, no matter what. But then Will comes over and joins them, pretending he wants to be friends, and says that they can go to an Oasis tribute concert together later today. The idea of kids going to an Oasis tribute concert is kind of hilarious to me.
Well, I don't think that Sam would have any interest in that.
But this would be like us going to what? I can't even think. An ABBA, like...
Yeah, which we probably would.
When we were 14...
Not when we were that age, maybe, no.
When you're 14, you're more concerned about what... Is Oasis cool now? I don't know.
I think since they've had a bit of a comeback.
When we were kids, I think that there weren't as many people that were... It was all new stuff, wasn't it? I think nowadays people stay in the charts longer because there's so much money behind keeping them successful.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, when we were kids, it was like, who's the next band? Who's this band? Get rid of them. One of them's fat. Right. So, meanwhile, Megan's back in the flat, and Sam has set up a spy cam that she is not aware of, even though it kind of looks quite conspicuous because it's just an obviously black...
Big black cube, wasn't it?
With a
sitting
lens
there
on
on
the
the
front of
shelf, yeah.
So, Sam is spying on Thursday in the bistro on his phone, trying to see a live feed from inside Leanne and Megan's flat. And
it was nice that we got to see the flat again, wasn't it, this week? That was the first time,
was
a jolly
really
long
shocked.
time since the hairdresser's flat has appeared.
It was funny to see it for the first time, yeah, since when? I think maybe 3 years or so.
I don't know, has it been that long? I'm not sure, but it's been a good while. Because wasn't that where wasn't Tyrone? Does he still own that? Because he was living there with Alina at some point, wasn't he?
Yes.
When Hope set the crib on fire.
Yes, you're right.
But it's really been out of action since then.
That flat's seen some action, hasn't it?
We're still waiting to see Brian's flat, which has not been on the show for over a decade, I think, at this point, and the one above, where is it? The one above Speed Dial, where Kirk lives in. But yeah, nice to see it again.
Yep.
Very important for this story. It is a little bit convenient that Megan's moved in with Leanne for storyline purposes, but hey, I'm not going to complain too much about that.
Nick is worried about Sam because he is overwhelmed by the fact he can't get connection in the bistro for spying. And so he tells Toya and Nick that he's worried about revising. And so Nick goes to the pub to talk to Will because he thinks that Will and Sam are friends, and asks Will whether he thinks Sam is okay. And Will says, I think he's fine. And then Ben says to Nick that Sam's going to be okay and he'll open up when the time is right. Will finds Sam in the cafe and tells him that Nick was asking about whether he's okay. And then Nick texts Sam and says, right, that's it. You are going to spend time with me. We're going to the cinema. Doesn't matter what you say. You're not revising or working. You're going to go to the cinema. So Sam's like devastated. But Will tells him that they can hang out together and drink some vodka. And Sam agrees. And I don't know what is Sam also playing Will? Like, he thinks,
I don't know.
I'm going to get close to Will and try and find out what's going on.
Sam
here.
is an innocent soul, isn't he? But he must realise that Will's not being genuine in his offer of friendship here.
But also, Sam is not at all interested in people like Will. What have they got in common? Why would Sam want to be friends with Will?
Well, they one of the two said, it was probably Will, saying, oh, we're kind of somewhat related, aren't we? Because, like, through Eva, through Leanne, back to you, sort of family. But then you could probably pick any two characters at random on this show and work out some way that they're tangentially related on the family tree. But, yeah, I don't think in real life Sam has got any reason to like him. I wish that we had some proper friends for Sam, because he's been at that school for a while now, and he's literally, his only friends are family members or other people.
There's no time for anything else.
I'd really love for them to have a story with him where he just gets a mate who's just another nerd like him, because they've sometimes had that in the past, haven't they? Sometimes characters have had school friends, like Ryan Connor went through a phase and he had a couple of mates at school who were just his schoolmates and not major
was
characters.
Sarah's friend.
Yeah, I think that developing something like that for Sam would be lovely, and I get that you might say, well, children like Sam find it difficult to make friends, but I think he still would have somebody. There'd be someone in the science club that he'd be mates with, wouldn't there? I want to meet them.
I'm thinking about changing ends with Alan Carr's Changing Ends, and he is, he's a character as a child in that show, and he had a little friend. He was a kind of mousy, kind of
the girl.
Hermione kind of character who was only hanging around because she fancied him, but she was also very serious, and she's like a little mini Sam.
Yeah, that's what he needs.
He needs a little mousy Hermione.
Because he's got no confidant at the moment, has he? He's got nobody to share his theories.
I don't know what he's up to or what he's thinking.
I want him to have a little plotty mate.
Yeah. So Sam and
maybe he could be friends with what's her face? She's already been cast. Young Costello, the daughter.
Yeah.
She had glasses. Ergo, they are automatically perfectly
both
suited.
Nerds, aren't they?
So they're both perfectly suited to each other in friendship nerdiness. Yeah.
So Will and Sam go and hang out in the precinct with their vodka, and Sam asks Will if he likes Megan more than just being a sports coach. And Will's like, well, she's pretty, but that's about it. Then Daniel sees them and runs over because he sees Sam taking a swig of vodka, and Will runs away before he can get caught, but Sam gets a lecture. And Daniel's like, oh, are you okay? What's happening? Do you want to talk?
This is very much not in character for you.
But then Daniel takes him to the bistro and dobs him in. And Sam says, sorry, I did something wrong. There's something been worrying me. And it's a fake out because he says, it's that the rest of my life is over if I fail. And they're like, oh, God.
Yeah, you think that this is the moment that he's going to reveal his suspicions about Megan, but he's keeping that under his hat at the moment, isn't
he? What, fail your GCSE maths exam a year before you're supposed to take it? I think it would be all right.
Sam is definitely, I think, the sort of kid who would be overly worried.
I had a nervous breakdown.
Yeah, unnecessarily, but you wouldn't know that at the time, concerned about the whole of your future is going to be decided on.
He would do really well. Every kid hates it, but there's so much pressure.
Well, there's a lot of pressure on the intelligent ones, on the boffin kind of characters, isn't there?
Well, we don't look. I would have said the same thing, but thinking about it, I have no conception of what it was like. We were in set one. This isn't me being egotistical. It's like we had a lot of expectations on our shoulders, and so therefore there was a lot of pressure. But that doesn't mean that children who were not necessarily expected to do incredibly well didn't feel pressure.
Oh no, I'm not saying that.
They would have felt pressure too to pass.
Yeah, for sure. But if
scary, no matter what your expectations
Sam must
are.
be the sort of kid at school who's got the reputation as being the clever one. He's the one that's going to go places. He's going to be the one that gets however many A's or ones or whatever the grading system is now at GCSE and A level. Yeah, or whatever the top grade is these days. And yeah, that sort of pressure must get to you. And I think in a world probably today where everything's a lot more kind of connected and you're not just in your own little bubble, you've got the whole world at your fingertips. Maybe there's even more pressure.
I don't know.
I don't know, but it does make sense if Sam is worried about that. But is he though, or is he just?
No, he's not. It's a lie.
He's very confident he's going to get all top grades actually because he's Sam.
I'm on Ritalin. I'll be fine.
What is going on with his Ritalin?
Why do you keep going on about it?
No, I'm going on about it in the shorts.
Later.
But it seems like a bizarrely introduced, very important plot point last week that since he took that one tablet, nothing has come of it. Like, has he taken all 4 already? Did he just take 1? Has he got more stashed away for some other future storyline scene? I don't know. Because you were saying as soon as he took the vodka, you was like, oh, that's going to react with the Ritalin.
No, I said, what does it?
I don't know whether it does or not. But, yeah, it's...
All that's going to happen...
That storyline at the moment is showing it's okay to use Ritalin as a revision tool because it has no adverse effects whatsoever.
All that's going to happen is that once Sam has a slight upper hand over Megan and Will, they're going to find the Ritalin and he's going to be blackmailed.
Yeah.
So they're like, don't worry, you're not going to fail. It's always quite funny on Coronation Street because a lot of these characters, I'm going to charitably say are not academically gifted. And so for Sam to sort of say, oh, my life will be nothing if I don't get great grades at my GCSE, they're like, well, look at us. Look at us.
Was it in
you can do anything.
Was it in today's episode where Megan says to him, oh yeah, you're better off practising waiting at tables because that's all you're going to end up doing.
It doesn't matter how you do. If you're going to go to Oxford, it doesn't matter. If you've got no GCSEs, it doesn't matter because you're going to live on the street, and if you're a bit clever, you'll own the business, and if you're not, you'll just work there.
Yeah.
And that's it. It doesn't matter.
I do wonder what the future holds for Sam. Like, because I don't see him as a businessman.
No.
But maybe he could like run one of these IT guys' computer, bring your computer here and we'll fix it. Or think that you've wiped your hard drive and we'll recover it for you.
That would be actually a really good business. Because there is an IT solutions company in the same building as Barlow Legal.
Yes, he could take over that, couldn't
So he could work there, and it would open as many storylines as I would want there to be for a bar, solicitors, in that there are far too many, but okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It makes about as much sense that people have computer problems as they go to hospital as often as they do on Coronation Street. But anyway, they say, don't worry, you'll be fine. And he says, thanks for your support. So he kind of gets away with it a little bit. But in the pub later, Daniel's telling Megan that Sam's, struggling. And he also brings up the fact that he might be upset about what happened to his mum. And she didn't know anything about this, so he spills the beans there.
She hasn't used that against him yet, has she?
But she will do.
Yes.
Will comes in and Megan's like, to one side, she's like, oh, you did so well with Sam. Do you want to come over later and get your reward? So Sam is back spying on his camera phone to see what he can see in the flat. But before he can get too far into it, Nick comes over and goes, that's it. You're not doing any more revising. We're going to the cinema. In fact, I'm going to put your phone, in the safe overnight.
What did you think of that?
I hope you don't have an alarm set on it to wake up in the morning.
As a parenting technique, do you think that was okay for Nick to do?
I'm not a parent, so I don't know. But if anyone tried to take my phone away from me overnight, they would find
if I said, Gemma, for your own good, I'm going to take your phone away from me, you'd have my guts for garters.
Ha ha ha, no, you're not. I will fight. I will literally physically fight you. It's not even a joke. You wouldn't get it off me.
I think that, I guess parents these days do confiscate their children's phones if they've done something wrong. But Nick's literally he thinks he's doing it so that he can stop Sam revising or something. But, these geeks, if they want to revise, they'll find a way.
I know, they're a bunch of nerds.
Can't help but learn.
I want to just absorb all the knowledge. I don't know if I can, kids shouldn't have supervised access to phones anyway. I know he's 14.
What about spy cameras?
Yeah. I know he's 14, but he shouldn't be able...
well, this is what they're going to be debating in Parliament soon, isn't it? About
social
media bans for the under-16s, is it?
Yeah, good. You shouldn't be on it. First of all, it's incredibly damaging. Second of all, it's surely fueling bullying. And thirdly, I don't want you on Twitter annoying me. Get off social media.
Wait until you've grown up.
You're winding me up.
Yeah. So anyway, Sam is phoneless overnight, isn't he?
Yeah, so God knows what they get up to, because on Friday, Megan and Will are still in the flat when Leanne comes home early from wherever she was. She went somewhere. And Will has to hide and escape when Leanne goes to the loo.
None of which gets caught on Sam's camera.
He doesn't notice this. So Sam gets his phone back, and Eva, Toya and Leanne and Megan organise a girly night in the...
Well, they say it's going to be a trip to town, but they just end up in the bistro, don't they?
Well, they're pre-gaming, aren't they?
Yes, clearly.
So Sam goes to the bistro to get his phone. It's run out of battery, so he has to run home and charge it, but Nick makes him help out the bistro.
Because everyone's off.
The Battersby clan plus Megan are all drinking in the bistro.
Shout out to Toya's red dress. Was it a dress or a blouse?
Yeah, she was wearing colour.
She was wearing something that wasn't a laced up Victorian style black floral outfit right up to the neck. She actually looked like, this is my one thing that I wear when I'm letting my hair down. So yeah, well done.
And it's
Good
nice,
choice.
All the blonde girls together having a nice drink. They're teasing Megan about Leanne thinking she'd found her hiding Daniel in the flat earlier, and then they're all talking about what they were like when they were kids, and it was quite fun, a bit of reminiscing between Eva and Leanne and Toya.
Yeah, they were all saying about how rough each of their upbringings was and how hard they were, weren't they? And like, you wouldn't believe what I got up to when I was a kid. You
Smoking
literally wouldn't.
And everything.
You literally wouldn't. You could kind of buy it with Leanne, but the way that Toya is at the moment, I think people would be hard pressed to believe what a scallywag she was back in '97.
But I wouldn't melt. So, Megan goes to the bar and threatens Sam again and says, look, you think you're clever, but you're nowhere near as smart as you think you are. As soon as you get out in the real world, you'll realise you're nothing special. Far from it. And this is very significant because she's saying this. When you watch this the first time, you think she's got no idea what's coming for her.
Yeah, little does she know.
But when you watch it with the knowledge of what happens later, you're like, she's telling him, you can't win against me because I know all your stupid little tricks. So when Sam finally gets a chance to look at his phone, the latest video, and we're not going to get into the technical aspects of why this app made no sense. We're just going to go with it.
Latest event, it said, and the only event that he checks out, and it's not time stamped. Okay.
It's not the best app, but maybe it was just
it was just the free one off the App Store. That was your problem, Sam.
So he watches this clearly staged performance of Will coming in to see Megan, and she's like, oh, I didn't know we had a session booked. And he's like, no, Miss Walsh, we don't, but I have to tell you something. I really love you. And she's like, oh, you might think you do, but you're just young and I'm your coach and that's all I'll ever be.
I loved the different layers of this because when Sam sat down to watch it, I was like, oh, what's he going to find out? And then Will comes in and is like, yeah, he's going to catch the matter. And over the course of the conversation, you go, hang on a minute.
Hang on, that's not
this
right.
This is definitely staged, but you don't realise that Sam realises it's staged until later either,
Yeah, because Sam's disappointed, but you would be if you'd thought that...
Yeah, you were going to get some proper evidence, and actually he's not.
Because he doesn't know that his suspicions are correct. He's still trying to find evidence. So he might have thought that this was real.
Yeah, but he realises... He is smart enough to realise it's staged.
Yeah.
So this clearly proved that Megan did have one over him, but he's not quite so far behind her.
Yes.
As that she would hope that he was.
Yeah. So he gets home, he goes back to the flat, and Megan catches him looking for this camera, and he says, "I know you staged that. That's all fake." And she says, "Guess what? You're a little pervert." And I'm onto you. You're a sneaky, sleazing, peeping Tom.
Sleazing?
If people find out, you're going to be put on the sex offenders register at 14 years old. So you better keep your nose out of other people's business or I'm going to ruin you. And this was amazing. What a flip. Because I can see a world where this is right. This is true. Like, kids, 14-year-old boys can be like this.
They can be. But equally... You might just be wanting to set up a camera in your house for the fun of it. And with Sam being a bit of a tech geek, you might think he could easily pass it off as, I just wanted to see what happened in my flat during the day.
But when she pointed out it was not his flat, Michael, he doesn't live there. When she pointed out exactly what it is that he had done, I was like, oh yeah, that is out of order. You can't just film people who, two women.
Yeah.
And it's not like he's related to either of them.
No.
So it's not like you could be innocently going, oh, but it's my mum. I wouldn't do that to my mum. It's like, no, you're a creepy weirdo filming two women in a flat. You could get anything on there. Do
you reckon that she is going to report him for that? Could he be dragged down the station?
No, she's just saying, keep your nose out.
But he's not going to keep his nose out, is he?
Well,
this
he's
is the thing.
Going to find a different way.
Yeah. I suppose she doesn't... Did she take the camera, I suppose? But that's not necessarily... There's not necessarily going to be the footage that's recorded on there. So.
No, it doesn't record on there. It records to the cloud.
Yeah.
There's no story.
We've learnt about this from the Theo storyline.
So they're at an impasse now, aren't they? And really, the question is, how far is Sam going to push this? And what does it really matter to him? He
is going to be like a dog with a bone with this.
But really, why?
Because I think his little sense of justice and...
Yeah.
This is wrong. I don't even know whether it's a case of he cares for Will because
no, he doesn't care about him at all.
Because Bill's been horrible to him. I think it's just the genuine thought that there is some injustice, some malpractice going on here, something that he knows isn't right, and he wants to do something about it. I think it's that, and I don't think he's going to give up. But what the next stage should be for him, I don't know, because I think the camera is quite a canny move. You're not going to find anything at school necessarily. I don't know what's next.
Well, Sam is...
If I was him, I'd probably try and lay low for a little bit.
Sam is sulking in Victoria Gardens when Nick finds him, and Sam's like, no, you can't help me, no one can. And meanwhile, also, Maggie catches Ollie and Lauren having a frolic, and then Maggie tells Lauren that Ollie is a player and there's no chance.
I mean, what Sam should really be doing at this point, and quite to be honest, so should most soap characters at various points in their storylines, is just setting their voice recorder going on their phone and getting into a conversation with Megan, because Megan is outright threatening him. She's being completely unprofessional.
Considering that she knows he's recorded her in secret, she's being very blasé about the fact that he could be recording her on his phone. Yeah,
that would solve the problem like that, which is why I think probably he's not going to do it, because I think they're going to want to string this out for a little bit longer. But that's my recommendation, at least. Right, Lily's storyline. I guess we're into the more minor stories now. I wasn't a massive fan of this, to be honest, and I think that was one of the reasons why this week felt just a little bit with me. I enjoyed those other stories, but what was going on with Rita and Brian and Lily in the cabin did not excite me in any way. And I in some ways, that's very sacrilegious, isn't it?
You can't say that.
To suggest that a scene with Rita in is not #Corrie Gold. But it's just not. She's not the... To me, putting Rita in a scene at the moment, and I don't care if I'm digging myself a bit of a grave here, is going to make the scene worse most of the time.
What? You think that Rita makes scenes worse?
Yeah. Because she's not the same Rita as she was. Barbara Knox is clearly getting on in years. They're not able to give her, these big things to say or do, and I just find that she's coming across as, it's just reminding me, the way when we see Rita like this now, it's reminding me of the Rita that we've lost and aren't getting back again. And having, her say, oh, I've just got a text from Emily. It's feeling like, hey, everybody, nostalgia, call back. And having Rita, and so having Mary walk her arm in arm into the bistro and calling her Rita Petite, it just didn't work for me. And I don't know whether...
This is so controversial.
I know, but I don't literally think there's anything they could honestly do with Rita at the moment. Because they're not going to put her into a big serious... Maybe if they had her in a big serious storyline, but all she's doing is either coming into the Rovers and saying, I'll have a G&T please, or a vodka tonic, sorry. Or she's being there with Brian and Mary, who are equally only used for stupid, dumb, light-hearted, but some people would say classic Corrie scenes, but it just doesn't have the same energy or the same vibe as a classic Corrie.
I tell you what it is. The energy is, you like this, don't you? You guys like this. Look, it's Rita. You love Rita, don't you?
You love the cabin.
Whereas
you were saying the cabin's not in it anymore.
Days,
here it is.
It was just Rita doing whatever Rita did. It wasn't like, hey, look, everybody, we're doing this for you. You love this. It's the difference between something that's genuinely enjoyable and fan service, which you feel is a bit manipulative.
She's not coming across as being like quick-witted.
Well, look, let's be careful what we're saying here, because there are limitations to people's
I know there are,
and I'm not saying anything about anybody in particular. I'm just saying that we've had this before where we've spoken about somebody and we've said the performance feels like it's lacking, and then you find out that actually there's a very good reason and maybe you shouldn't have said anything at all.
I mean, Barbara Knox is very old. That's kind of obvious.
That was where I was sort of going.
But I don't know. I'm feeling that compared to William Roach, he's still giving he's still giving a bit more bang for your buck when it comes to dramatic scenes.
I've got nothing to say about this because I don't think this is a productive discussion for us to have.
All I'm just saying is I didn't particularly enjoy the cabin scenes this week because you got Lily who declares that she wants to be a paper girl. So she goes off and gets this. Gets all the instructions read out to her by Brian about how to do this, and then Brian gets a parcel which is the woman in white, and then that leads to a silly comedy exchange with Mary who talks about the woman in white suspenders or something. White tights, I don't know.
I didn't understand whether she thought that was really a book.
Who knows what Mary thinks about anything or what she really believes, but Lily, who I'm really not particularly enjoying the characterisation of at the moment, is a bit of a prissy cow of a character, ends up dumping all her papers in the bin at the precinct, and it's down to Hope, who is all of a sudden the more reasonable of the two teen girls, to come back into the cabin and say, hey look, I found all of these papers.
She was just trying to get in trouble. She wants to get a D of E badge.
Is that one of the boxes you have to tick to get your neighbour in trouble?
She was trying to do some kind of social...
Yeah.
Anyway, back to what I was saying about Rita. I know that people want us to discuss some things that they might feel themselves, but I know that I feel people accuse me of being a party pooper, and I get you might be frustrated if you want to hear us talking about something, but I'm just saying, like, as a podcast with many thousands of listeners, I feel a bit of responsibility to be on the side of caution when I talk about actual real life people, aka the actors.
No, that's fair enough.
You can say what you want on Twitter and you can have discussions, and I'm not going to stop anybody from talking about anything on social media because it is anonymous and people, it's a different format. But as you know, we have a bit of responsibility.
But I will also add that I'm not saying that they shouldn't have Rita anymore. They shouldn't have these scenes because
I would agree that the writing could be different for her.
Lots of people I've seen online saying that was the highlight of the episode. All I am saying is, it was not for me. I didn't get out of it what people were supposed to get out for it, but I do completely hold my hands up and say not everything on Corrie is for me. Those scenes most definitely weren't. Anyway, Thursday comes round and you got we got Brian coming around the Platt house to have a go at Lily, so then it all comes out what she's been up to and dumping the newspapers. And Jodie promises David she'll take Lily to the shop to smooth things over later with Brian. Carl's involved in that a little bit. She ends up having a bit of nookie with him later, I think. Jodie and Lily go to the shop later on in the episode, and she apologises and then says, can I have my job back? But Rita and Brian can't believe her nerve, so Lily says, well, stick your stupid little job up your ass then, and off we go. I think that's the last. No, did we see a little bit of her on Friday? It's a little bit of her on Friday, but Thursday also had a bit more of Carl and Jodie together after they've had their little roll in the hay upstairs, and David walks in on them canoodling and tells Carl to sling his hook. Jodie tells Carl that they're pretty similar. We've been let down by our families, we've got to get by ourselves, and I'm here to take what's owed to me, and so am I, says Carl. So they're both delightfully villainous together. I think, was that the first time? Because they'd been keeping their little affair secret, hadn't they? Up until this point. So, well, yeah. I guess it's out in the open.
Well, people
now,
had known
David
that they were
knows.
flirting and kept telling her to leave him alone.
Yeah, but I think she'd been kind of publicly
pretending
that she didn't want anything to do with him. So, hey, now David knows that they're an item. Jodie on Friday's episode goes on to Hope about how old-fashioned Brian and Rita are, and she lies that they were going to make Lily pay £50 for those papers. And Hope's like, well, they've been kind enough to me. I don't know what the problem is.
I don't know if she was lying.
Who?
I don't think she
Jodie?
Yeah.
I don't think they were. I don't know. Lily joined in with it, didn't she? But it felt like everything that Jodie says is just stirring something up at the moment.
No, no. Jodie is trying to ingratiate herself with Lily by making any enemy that Lily has into her enemy as well. And so she takes Lily's side in everything. Because she's trying to recruit her.
She's trying to recruit her and turn her away from Shona, isn't she?
Yeah, she's trying to be like, oh, your parents don't get you, but I do.
Yeah. But this also leads Hope to feel a little bit delicate and a bit paranoid, insecure about what Brian and Rita might be saying about her. And lo and behold, when she's out the back in the cabin later, they do overhear them calling her thick. and then she says, well, then what is it? She starts talking about the Kardashians, doesn't she? And Brian says, why don't you just read a proper book? Well, not Gossip Mag. So she drops out. And then after dark, we see a mysterious pair of legs come into the shop and take Brian's book. What fiend? I mean, this could be the sixth victim, couldn't it? We've got another villain on the block here. Was I think it was just supposed to be Lily.
It's clearly Lily.
It wasn't Hope.
It's going to be...
That wasn't Hope's legs.
It's going to be blamed on Hope because she's the one who was talking about books.
Yeah.
Or being accused of not reading books.
Yeah, I'm really struggling to like Lily at the moment. Really.
Yeah, Lily's a little cow.
Like I think with the old Lily, I didn't have that much thought about her. I didn't love her. I didn't enjoy how everything about her was football, and that was the extent of her personality.
I can't imagine Lily even knowing what football is.
Yeah, but this Lily she's just turned out to be a lot nastier than she seemed to be going towards. I don't know.
She just reminds me of one of the popular girls at school that was mean to everybody. She's just got that, like, she's too pretty and groomed. That's what they were always like at school. The ones that were mean were always, like, nicely, pretty and cared about what they looked like.
She doesn't seem like the sort of child that David and Shona would raise.
Yeah. Well...
I don't know.
Some mothers do have them, Michael. That's what they said about Ted Bundy, wasn't it?
Yeah. Okay, Mal, Gemma, quickly, what's he been up to this week?
He is pretending to like crystals on Tuesday and going on about angel cards and stuff and trying to engage her. And she is not interested whatsoever. And he leaves a card for her, and when she turns it over, it's the surrender card. Obviously, that doesn't go down very well. And Jodie's stirring things up, telling Mal that Bernie admitted that she appreciates him. And this only spurs him on, because on Wednesday, he's asking Hope, Joseph and Chesney to tell him some information about Bernie, because he's like, oh, we'll do a little trick where you do jokes with each other. What animal would she be if she was an animal? Quickly, tell me now. And Chesney's like, I don't even... Chesney looked like he forgot what animals were.
Dog is the only animal that Chesney knows.
She'd be one of them sad little monkeys with a little...
You're thinking about punching
little ginger mum who's dead.
She's a little mother hen, isn't she, Bernie, at the moment?
On Friday, Mal gets a lovely bacon balm from Bernie and gives her a tip, and she's like, oh, thanks for this, I'll give it to everybody, and makes a big deal about not really accepting
She's
it.
really doing the best she can to shake off his unwanted advances.
And this is really interesting to watch as a woman, like, who... These are the tactics you have to employ, because you don't want to annoy him, because he could do anything.
Yeah.
You have to, like, politely decline and not engage and try to hope that he takes the hint.
Well, she's also, remember, hiding the fact from Dev that she had anything to do with him. So she knows that she can't overreact too much. So she's got herself caught into a little corner here, hasn't she? And also, although Mal is being an utter creep, he is operating on the second half of the week under the impression that she likes him.
But it's also plausible deniability. This is what people like this do. He's like, what do you mean? I was just trying to be friendly. I wasn't trying to. I hope
this story picks up the pace a little bit soon, because it's been kind of spinning its wheels. It's been featured very lightly for the past 2 weeks, hasn't it? Is it? Are we going to see a big development of this next week? I don't know.
Mal tries to make her a cup of tea and she's like, oh, I've got to go. And he's like, no, stay, I need to talk to you. And he's about to lock the door to trap her when Brian pushes his way in and he wants to talk to Roy. But Bernie's like, no, talk to me. Tell me all about your starling murmurations. And so Mal's like, well, okay, I'll go, but we're going to talk later. We're going to talk next time I see you.
I think the fact that he was reaching up to the door lock does say quite a bit about him, doesn't it?
It's really frustrating because at a certain point...
This is putting him in Sarah Louise territory with Eli last year.
Yeah.
Was he about to do a bit of a sexy dance for her?
You do have to just stand up, but it can be really scary because you don't know what the guy's going to do.
No. And I still
I bet you every woman who's listening to this now has had an experience like this, where there's a guy who is not taking no for an answer, and you do not know how to handle it, and it gets scary.
There's nothing inherently kind of dangerous or...
Yeah, but you don't know. This is
you
the
don't
point.
know. He's a mystery. We still don't know whether Alice even exists, do we?
When you're a
he
woman,
seems like a really nice guy.
How do you tell the difference between a man who is just misguided about what the future of your relationship is, and a guy who's going to kill you? Because any of them could do it. The
fact that he was loitering around outside her house last week is definitely a bit of a red flag. But
she didn't know that was happening.
No, exactly. But at the moment, he hasn't done enough to make me think, oh, he could turn violent. He could...
Why? Number one, you're watching a soap, so you know it's going to be the worst possible case scenario. And number two, I think you're watching it as a man who's not had this... All the women watching this are going, this is bad. Get away.
Yeah.
And Bernie knows it. She's trapped. Bernie knows it. You can see it in her eyes.
Do you think this is the time where she needs to come out and tell Dev? I suppose it's one of these things where you could say, yes, she definitely should, but she probably won't, because soap is all about people making bad decisions.
Well, also, he got really upset the last time she revealed something, and if she reveals something else that she didn't tell him, he's going to get even more upset.
Mel's clearly not going to back down at the moment,
could be left without a protector at the time she needs one most.
I mean, maybe... Because
really, Dev would flatten Mel, wouldn't he?
Yeah. I wonder what would happen if Bernie sat Mel down and said, look, I think you got the wrong end of the stick here. I feel like you're thinking this is going to go somewhere where it's not. Would that be enough to stop him? Probably not. I mean, we saw what happened with Justin Rutherford, didn't we? The other year with Daisy. So...
Michael.
I hope... What? What?
If only she sat down and reasonably told him that she wasn't interested, he would just understand and leave her alone.
But he is still somewhat thinking that she's interested in him.
But, okay.
I don't want to defend him too much. I think he's fairly indefensible. He's clearly going down the bad guy route with him. I don't want to make myself look like a total idiot. But maybe she needs to just lay her cards down.
You live in a different world to women. Women live in a world where you cannot really... I mean... I've had a guy who was like following me around and was creepy and weird. And in the end, I just had to shout in his face. And that was what stopped him. But I only did that because I was in public. I wouldn't have been able to do that to him if I'd been alone.
I don't know how long all this electronic work is supposed to be taking. He said weeks, isn't it? So it's still...
I don't believe that
still could be quite a way to go.
Any flat needs weeks of electrical work, but hey.
Well, I think he's obviously making it
Of course he is.
A lot worse than it is. Do you reckon he's still going to be around on April the 23rd? Because he could very well have been another victim, couldn't he? He probably feels a little bit left out, to be honest, that he wasn't. Why not Mel?
Okay, next.
All we had, really, for the rest of the week was a couple of scenes with Ben and Steve, who seem to be getting a bit chummy together. And Tim's getting jealous on Thursday that Steve is... he's got a new mate. And Ben's trying to tell them how superior rugby is to football, and Tim's not having any of this, and he's like, you'll never get Steve to switch from football to rugby. So, but then on Friday, apparently Tim's gone down with a cold, which leaves Steve and Ben free to play darts together, and Maggie is not happy with
Maggie
this.
seems jealous.
Maggie seems...
But you made a good point on the short.
Yes, well, I wondered when I saw this whether could this be something related to what Maggie saw in Ken's cupboard, and when we were thinking, is it something to do with Peter? How's it related to the Barlows? We didn't necessarily give enough thought time to the fact that this could be something related to Steve.
That Steve lives there.
Yeah, I think that we have considered, did she see a picture of Jim McDonald? I'm sure I've seen that before. But the way that she's reacting to Steve hanging around with Ben this week is making me veer quite severely away from the it's Peter Barlow theory, and actually is Jim McDonald Ben's dad is really seeming quite likely at the moment.
Oh my God, and that makes Ben and Steve brothers.
Yes.
I do not know what to say about that.
I mean, I've given up hope of Andy ever appearing on the street again, so if we want that little fraternity...
Well, hang on, yeah, because they're twins.
Yeah.
So Maggie would have had twins.
What? No, why?
What?
Why would Maggie have had twins?
What?
What are you talking about? Steve
No,
and Andy.
I was like, oh,
Maggie's not Steve's mum.
Maggie's everyone's mum.
No,
you're right. Okay.
So the theory is that when Jim was off in the army,
Liz would remember if she had a baby or not.
Jim was off station somewhere or other, and he had an affair with Maggie, and would Jim have done that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Was he an affair? He was. I would say that he was also very loyal to his family. I don't think he was necessarily the type. Yeah, he would beat his wife up, but would he cheat on her? I'm gonna say
He's
possibly
an
not.
Man. He would only do domestic violence.
If he got supremely enraged when he thought that Liz had been having an affair with, what was it, Johnny Johnson or something, was his army mate.
Just because you get annoyed when somebody else has an affair doesn't mean you would do one yourself.
But I think that enough time has passed and there's enough water under the bridge and enough people have forgotten about what Jim was really like, that if Kate Brooks wanted to write it into the script that Jim had an affair with Maggie Driscoll back in the 80s, then yeah, whatever, of course, why not have her do that? So what Maggie saw in the cupboard could either be a picture of Jim that Steve had put in there, or, I saw somebody suggesting this online earlier, was it a picture of Deirdre with Liz? And because Maggie might have recognised Liz as being the wife of this person that she had an affair with, and that's why she's not too happy with Steve hooking up with him, because it's raking up memories of the past, and she knows that they're secretly half-brothers. So watch this space for that, I'm going to say. To be honest, I just want this secret in the cupboard to come out.
This is what always happens when they have some kind of intriguing
I don't think
mystery.
It's going to be anything at this stage that nobody's thought of.
I've said this a million times.
So let's just tear this plaster off and tell us what it is next week, Corrie, please. That's my wish for next week's Coronation Street, that we learn the truth about that. Would I be mad about it? Is this yet another retcon? I don't know.
I would be if it turned out that Steve and Ben were half brothers. I would like it from the perspective that I like Ben as a character, and I think it makes it more likely he'd stay in the show.
I would be interested to see what it means for the ongoing development of Ben and Steve's relationship, which we've only seen the genesis of this week. But I thought that those two got on well together, and they were an interesting screen. Well, couple's not the right word, but they as mates and partners, on-screen partners, they were quite fun. And I'd also be very interested to see, for comedy reasons, Tim's jealousy.
Could Ben
could be good.
The new Lloyd?
Well, Tim's already there, isn't he? But then I suppose the other thing is, if Steve and Ben are having these scenes together, then that's going to be drawing Tim into the Driscoll circle. The circle of, there's a grooming storyline going on here, and is he going to get closer to Will? Is he going to have something to say about it when it comes out? Is this going to be ultimately what gets Tim to realise, oh, you know what, Trisha did groom you when I was younger? I think that's possibly where it's going to ultimately lead.
I know that we're all, I mean, it seems quite clear that Tim will learn.
He was groomed and it was wrong.
And it's abusive, but can you just imagine the twisted world where Will learns from Tim that it's cool and they have a high five and they're both just happy. and then everyone goes, oh, maybe Megan's not wrong.
Can you imagine
just let her get away with it?
If Tim's in a scene with Will and because I could totally imagine him sitting there going, hey, that PE teacher of yours, she's a bit of alright, isn't she? Little does he know.
I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway,
I just hate the whole thing.
Right.
If I could delete one story from Corrie, it would be that. Although I will have to say that Beth Nixon is so magnificent as Beth.
She's doing brilliantly, and I'm
Megan.
really enjoying the Sam angle. I'm having less of a problem with the story in 2026 than I did when it first kicked off in 2025.
I don't like the sordid, nasty, disgusting, horrible elements of obviously that, but Beth Nixon is just I found it difficult to know where they were going with this character when she was being so sweet, and she's got this very innocent look, doesn't she? She's got a really nice high cheekbones. She's got kind of a young looking face. She's got like full cheeks. She's got blood. You know, she looks like a sweet cheruby girl, doesn't she? With her blonde hair, like a little angel. And then the way that she turned her eyes into these glittering, like, holes of malice when she was looking at Sam, and the way she kind of sweetly comes up to him and sort of says all these things, like dripping with honey, but it's just poison. She's just really fantastic as a performer.
Yeah, she's very watchable. But as I say, Sam, get your
great.
voice recorder out, and this whole problem's going to be done and dusted in a week's time. Honestly.
Given that, Michael, what do you reckon you would give this week out of 5?
It was an okay week. As I say, I left Monday's episode just a little bit let down because it didn't reveal anything hugely out of this world surprising. I suppose the biggest surprise was that Todd and Theo were going to be getting married in March, and their story didn't feature at all after Monday, did it? Same with the Swains, we didn't get to see any of it. But I thought it was great seeing Debbie and Lou again. Sam's always good entertainment for me. I thought that the stuff going on in the cabin was a real letdown. Yeah, there were just bits that I didn't get on with too much. I think I'm going to give this 3 faces like a smack backside out of 5 this week, I'm afraid. Which is still alright. It just wasn't setting the house on fire for me.
I really liked Mondays.
Hotel, should I say.
I really, really like Mondays. I like that they're doing something different. I enjoy whodunits and murders and mysteries and things. It felt like an event on Monday. I think part of it was to do with the fact we got to watch it early, and we also had the live, and we got to talk to people, and we went to Manchester, so it
was
felt
fun
like
doing
a very
some watching in Manchester
significant week for us, and so maybe part of that transferred onto how I felt about Coronation Street. Some of the week's episodes for me were just quite dull, and I said on the short today that I'm struggling with the format, and I think
that was yesterday you were saying that.
All right, that I think that because we came into Corridale, and then we had the aftermath of that. Then we had a week where we didn't have the proper amount of episodes because of sports, and now it feels as though we're getting into this is the status quo, and so I feel a bit disappointed that perhaps it's not going to be quite the cure that I thought it would be for some of the things I think is wrong with Coronation Street.
Right.
And so that kind of like brought me down. So I've had a bit of a week of highs and lows.
So what's your overall score?
I think I would have given it a 4 with Monday's episode, but then a few of the other days were just a bit crap. But today, I don't know, I think maybe 3.5 feels like a pretty decent.
Well, that seems to gel with the words that are coming out of your lovely mouth. What are you giving it? 3.5 watts though?
3.5 soggy editions of the Weatherfield Gazette crammed into a bin in the precinct.
Okay.
And who's your character of
the week this week?
I think Megan's going to get
Yeah,
mine.
I thought you'd probably go for Megan.
Because I do think
That's
she's
good shout.
She's going to die. I did like her fringe in April the 23rd. Mm-hmm. Maybe Maria cuts it for her. I don't know.
I think probably for me, the character that I was most interested in watching was Sam. I was just
that's a good shout.
Curious about, what's he going to do next? Is he going to catch them? What's he doing? He is acting like a little bit of a creep. But it's still very, very Samish. I do think there were some things that he did that weren't particularly in character for him, though. Like the Ritalin last week, knocking back vodka this week. For someone who, like I said earlier, has got a very clear sense of right and wrong, and this is not morally correct for this to be happening, I'd be surprised if I was surprised to have him sitting there. Yeah, I'll have some vodka. But I still think, with all things considered, I'm still going to have Sam as my character of the week. So there we go.
Well, there we go. What did you think, everybody? Did you like this week? Did you like Mondays? Have you got any theories? Have you got any... If your theory is based on a spoiler, just don't tell us.
I don't think there's much out there, to be honest. And like I still say, we're going to be able to have lots of theories and ideas going into the 23rd of April, but we are going to have absolutely no clue. Because they all get beaten up by somebody. Yeah. It could literally be anybody.
Anyone
And we're not going to find out until the actual
do anything.
the moment that it happens. Yeah.
But it's not going to stop us.
No, it won't stop us whatsoever. Absolutely. Right, that is it for Street Talk this week.